Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
It's time for the crossover, brought to you by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com. Hey, we're a full-service radio station.
Oh, are we?
How do you spell that, though?
Servais.
That's
Damn
right.
right.
Go
Imagine
Jays.
not knowing how to spell.
There's
There's an interesting conversation that's going on Twitter about the way that the Lincolnites and the Omahans have approached the new pope.
There is quite the conversation. I hadn't heard it until about 20 minutes ago, but
we're
yes.
closer to Chicago. I think we would take more of an interest than Lincoln, but apparently not.
They
my pope.
They're just so.
All of our popes.
What is it about living in Lincoln where
Mine
you
specifically.
need to
The
be
Big East Pope.
acknowledged?
No, more claim on Chicago.
I don't think so.
Josh has a
Oh
good
my
point
God.
about something here about Lincoln compared to Omaha.
Why do people in Lincoln just need to be acknowledged?
Oh, Josh,
so much.
thank you for saying this out loud. I don't know.
I'm very brave, I know.
You're the bravest man I know, Charlie Brown.
Acknowledge me.
How come we don't have more of a rivalry between people that live in
Talk
Lincoln
about-
and people who live in Omaha?
Well, I
feel
don't
like
know, man. I think it exists pretty
decided.
good.
It's been decided.
Take out like Creighton against Nebraska, but just live in
Yeah,
Omaha, live
yeah.
in Lincoln. You think it's
Yeah.
Why are you always getting spam calls?
I don't know. I don't know.
This is like the third time in a row where you're getting a spam
you might be
call.
getting the John Ewing one because I got one about 10 minutes ago.
He probably should have started campaigning before this week.
Josh, there are some people who will tell you he actually has the lead.
Really? Who would
He definitely
say
doesn't-
that?
no,
fundraising.
that's a bad no.
Bad
That's-
poll.
That's not right.
The
538. You get that from 538.
The call I got earlier today.
Was the poll all of his friends and family? Is that what it was?
All right, so we're trying to figure out, by the way, who is. So there's something going on across the street, and
Something big.
yeah,
Hey, if you need to call in the closer, I can go out there.
something is being filmed over there. And so, speaking of needing to be acknowledged, we need to be acknowledged, as in we need to be a small part in whatever movie or documentary or commercial that they're filming over
Okay.
there.
So I think
We could send our guy, whatever his name is, Larson, over across the street and start yelling at him. You know Larson?
yes, I
Well,
do know Larson.
yeah.
So Spicoli and I next door were trying to figure this out. So yesterday, that house, Suite 98, they look right at where this is being shot.
Future
Soon we
16,
will.
20.
Somebody
Yeah.
showed up.
Maybe.
Wait till they find out about it.
No, no, I think, yeah, maybe.
I made that mistake, Happer.
Mhm.
He said yesterday a gigantic bag of popcorn was dropped off on the steps.
That's from Larson.
Yes.
That's-
that was
so,
a gift.
That's-
so now you have
I'm
the
lost.
film crew rolls in today,
Mhm.
and
I wonder what
it
kind of
does look
presents
like
they got.
it doesn't look like a commercial. It looks like they are doing a film shoot, but they don't have like the stuff that's coming off the truck looks more like you would use
It's
for a
big.
film.
It's big.
It does look large.
We have
Just Adam Driver walks out of a trailer. Like,
Now-
oh my God, what's going on here?
Where is Alexander Payne?
Mhm.
Where's it's
Is he
almost
allowing
time.
it to happen?
It's almost time for Matt Damon to do another movie in Omaha.
Yeah.
It's been 5 years at least.
Is the Odyssey not on? That's not shot in Omaha.
The Odyssey.
I don't think so.
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
No.
No. Last movie we had shot in Omaha was that movie with Matt Damon about the
shrinking
they
people?
made everybody tiny.
Downsizing.
Yeah,
Downsizing.
They went to La
Oh my
Casa.
God, I never saw down. I gotta
You didn't.
see
That's
that's Omaha
Downsizing.
history.
No,
Oh
you
my
don't.
God,
My dad's in that movie.
I remember I was watching. I was in the movie theater watching Thor.
He is.
Wait, your dad's in that movie?
Yeah, he's in there.
That's incredible.
Yeah, he doesn't have a credit, but he's in there.
I was watching.
Do you get checks at home once in a while?
No, there's no checks. There's no checks. There were some people at the place that he worked where they had to sign some stuff because they had like a line or something like that, and their face was in there. He was not a part of that. But he was in there.
I was
He was
watching
pushing a cart past.
Thor Ragnarok in theaters, and I saw the downsizing trailer, and I just started laughing because I thought it was so ridiculous.
That's right.
I thought the concept was really good.
Uh-huh.
The movie kind of sucked.
It went
Yeah.
it didn't go
Yeah.
the ways I wanted it
Yeah,
to go,
and
which I normally don't care about, but
yeah.
It went a little bit too long.
uh-huh.
Once
Yeah.
they got away from Omaha and you stopped looking for, hey, there's La Casa.
But
And
you got me hooked. I mean, it's Matt Damon, it's Kristen Wiig. Like it's an
Nah.
interesting concept. I'm interested, but the movie wasn't good.
That came out in what? 2019?
It was probably 19.
2019?
Yeah.
The trailers were going on during Thanksgiving of 2018.
I went to the premiere.
You went to the premiere?
Yeah.
Because it was shot here in Omaha.
2017.
Oh, Lord. God, life has flown
I
by.
believe that's when they opened the
there's Larson.
Peggy Payne Theater
Is
at
he-
the Dundee Theater.
He runs a tight ship.
Oh yeah, he's got that cart packed tight.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? So yesterday I got a little worried about him
Oh no,
because he took his time getting across Dodge at 8:30.
Well,
not the time to
bad time to take your
slow
time.
play Dodge.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Is there ever a good time to slow play Dodge?
Yeah, probably like when you guys get here.
Fair point.
Hey, so let me ask you, like the movies that have been shot in Omaha, we can rattle off. When they shot About Schmidt, was it a big deal in Omaha? Because look at the
What
cast.
year would that have been?
What are we, 2000?
Downsizing was a bigger deal.
It was?
Yeah.
And then we had Jack.
Did they do
Does
that?
the house-
Did they do much of that in Omaha though?
Well,
or was
because
it
one
just
of the house, the Jack Nicholson house is like right over here,
Mhm.
like in our neighborhood, here in Dundee.
works at Woodman of the World, the life insurance company in Omaha. So let me see if there's any places where it.
But Jack was in Omaha,
Yeah.
so he was filming scenes here.
Let's see about.
I remember when they shot Batman in Chicago. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Here's what they got.
Gotham police cars everywhere on Lower Wacker.
Film locations 2002 Messiah Lutheran Church at on South 80th Street, Pioneer Village in Minden. That's not in Omaha. 5402 Izzard Street, which is Warren Buffett's house, I believe.
Hello.
Or,
Is it? Oh, this is 55th and Farnham.
Or no, it says Warren's house. Maybe was Warren a character in the
I
movie?
think that's Jack's.
I never saw the movie. Okay, that Warren's house is at 5402 Izzard Street. And they got some stuff from the Kearney Arch.
Yes, they did. Because he
Beautiful
was on
Kearney
the
Arch.
RV driving to Denver.
I love the Kearney Arch, folks. Love the Kearney Arch.
They shot, so
Not-
they
so
didn't
not
do
much.
anything in there. They shot from a beauty shot of Woodman's
Johnny's.
house.
Johnny's.
Yep. I think that's where they had his retirement
Dinner. Yes. So there you go.
Is there anything up at Johnny's about it?
Probably. I would
I would
think so.
imagine there's something on the wall. Yes.
Now, my other question about movies being shot here.
Dairy
So-
Queen? It went to Dairy Queen? The Miller Dairy Queen?
Hello.
That's what it says.
Where's that at?
136th Street in Millard, a few miles west of the city. Or, according to some, in the city.
What what high school was election shot at?
Oh, Ralston or Papio La Vista, maybe?
Because wasn't the majority of that movie shot in Omaha?
Yes.
Yes.
It is Papio. Yeah, Papio.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so
Very
Chris
famous.
says
You got the Pope, we got these weird movies.
Mhm.
All right?
Well, I
Calm
also
down.
get movies. My
Calm down.
movies. Our
They
movies.
film movies in Chicago, huh?
No.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, fun
There's no way.
fact. I didn't know
They
if you
probably
knew
go
that.
to the Bean.
I knew you were going to say that. I was going to beat you to the punch. Damn it! I knew that was coming.
then they go to Wrigley Field and you try and figure out what game Ferris Bueller
Look,
was at.
That's
Look,
right.
As a gift to the Vatican, I think we should take the bean and we should send it over there and be like, "Look, we want our Pope."
Good bit.
Larson! Larson!
That's what he did the other
Oh no, is he slow playing Dodge?
Yes.
Yeah, he's playing Frogger.
Oh,
He went.
He was fine. Oh my God!
Larson.
Tell me you've never walked through a busy street without telling me you've never walked through a busy
He's
street.
He almost got smoked
He was
twice.
Pushed a shopping
fine.
cart.
He was okay.
He almost got smoked
He was
twice.
totally good.
He fits with the neighborhood.
Mm.
But I wish he would go over a block closer.
yeah.
and
Go to
see
the
what-
movie shoot.
Go what the movie shoot is.
Maybe he goes underneath in the Omaha subway.
Have you
That's right.
talked to this guy and met this guy? And
No, we found out his name.
Okay.
Today.
I
the police. had
so
some-
I'm going to be honest.
Where is
you,
the tunnel up here?
It's right there. It's
Okay.
right where he is.
you pointed into the building as I thought Larson was like someone who worked with us.
No,
and then-
he hangs out down here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's that's his stuff in the cart. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Chris says, I'm really surprised Papillion doesn't recognize the movie Election, with filming locations being marked. By far the best movie ever filmed, mostly in Nebraska.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Up in the Air was great, but not as much was filmed in Nebraska.
That's right. They just said Omaha and had a lot of camera shots.
Right.
And it had Clooney. We love Clooney. And,
The way you said that, it was like he was
and
your
what's her name?
childhood crush.
So, but wait a
What's her
minute.
name? Anna Kendrick.
That's
yeah.
right.
Oh,
So
she's great.
Didn't they shoot? There was one scene.
There
at
had
Epley.
to, yeah, there was definitely some scenes at Epley.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is, of course, pre-renovation,
Yeah.
pre-build Omaha.
Well, I'm glad they preserved it on film.
That's true. Now it lives forever.
But we have no
Craggy
like,
McGee's.
we have no like Hall of Fame in town where, wouldn't it be cool if you got off a plane in Omaha and
actually,
you could
yeah.
see the film history
Mhm.
of what is shot in Omaha?
Actually, yeah.
I mean,
they
what?
should have that.
I
They
mean,
should
how
have-
many? How
I know
many?
you've
how
been
many
on-
movies are there?
You've been on this thing about trying to put some Hall
The
of Fame
Omaha
there.
Sports Hall
no,
of Fame
no,
should
no.
be at
This
the
is a
airport.
much better idea.
There's a tiny little section inside the Durham
oh, really?
for like
Oh,
Omaha sports history.
That's it?
It's like the size of those two boards there
Oh.
behind you, those two whiteboards.
Yeah. The Harry Carey Museum's at Delta, but it's just a bar and it's got his face all over it.
That's
but,
awesome.
But it is his museum.
Because there is going to be more of a chatter in the next month or so about College World Series Hall of Fame.
Mhm.
Yep.
Where would you put it? But nobody wants to, like,
I don't want to put
purchase
it
it.
at the airport.
No.
Okay.
I don't want it at the airport.
I mean, let's not act like there aren't buildings for sale downtown.
Matt scaled one of them.
I did, yeah. But you don't want to
There's-
put a baseball Hall of Fame in that building. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of those windows. I'm going to tell you right now, not the best.
Plenty of good space available.
They are building a skyscraper.
They are.
You can
They
put it
are.
in there.
They
It's not
Put
a
it in the
skyscraper.
ground floor?
At
It
the
is
base?
not.
Yeah.
It does not scrape the sky.
what about the panels
tall
inside of
building.
the streetcar?
Oh, there you go. Like a rotator.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to like
It's more
each
than a
streetcar is a different part of the college
Mhm.
baseball museum, and so you have to take different. I like that. That's actually a pretty good idea. Or just buy a hospital and then tear down the hospital and put a baseball museum in there.
Henry Fonda is one of the biggest movie stars of all time, and he doesn't even have a statue from Dwayne "The Rock" Hudson. Milwaukee gave Henry Winkler a statue for bleep's sake. That's what.
man makes some good points.
Yeah, we could prop up our movie stars more.
We could.
Mhm. Marlon Brando,
there's
born
so many of
Brando,
them.
yeah, get him in there.
We could have a Hall of Fame of people that were born here but never lived here.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have
Like
a lot
Wade
of those.
Boggs.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Andy Roddick,
Yes. Malcolm X.
Gerald Ford.
I think Malcolm X was born in Omaha.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. So many.
But they never stay.
no, they never stay.
Dan-
They always go to Kansas City or something.
Or
Andy with
Chicago.
a good pull. Fred
Chicago.
Astaire.
Fred
Oh,
Astaire.
there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if you went to the Wikipedia page of people born in Omaha, how many of them actually grew up in
Mhm.
Omaha?
Fun fact: Joe Burrow wanted to play football at Nebraska.
What?
Wow.
Did you know that?
When did you learn this?
Everybody talks about it.
Why haven't you told
Actually,
us?
some people interviewed his what was it? His uncle or grandfather?
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a clarification on Jordon Hudson.
She's
Thi-
not kicked out.
This is actually important, whatever you're about to say. It determines the future of North Carolina football.
I thought you were going to say determines the future of the Connor Happer show.
quote, while Jordon Hudson is not an employee at the University of Carolina Athletics, she is welcome to Carolina football facilities. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of his responsibilities for Carolina football and the university.
Another all-time on-3 graphic. I mean, look at this. Look at this. That is great.
false.
False.
Why is she in a bikini?
That is no. Anytime someone accuses me of doing anything, I am sending this picture.
false.
Would
Oh, Jorge Garcia, the guy who played what show was that guy in? Well, he showed up on this guy. He ended up being the Blitz on How I Met Your Mother.
The Blitz is from Omaha?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's all I know him from. I'm sure he's played bigger roles on other shows, but that's all I know him from. Hugo Hurley Reyes in the television series Lost from 2004.
Yeah,
to
that's probably
2000.
what he's most known for.
Almost for sure. He was on that show for 6 years, and he was on 2
Jeez.
episodes of How I Met Your
He was
Mother.
on a Weezer album
Yeah.
cover as well.
oh wow.
So that guy definitely did not stay here.
I didn't know that.
See, that's why we appreciate people like Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
Mina Kimes.
Many times.
Throw her on the list.
Mina Kimes. was born in
What?
Omaha.
Off at Air Force Base.
Wow.
She's an Army kid.
She claimed it on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
And she said, "Go Big Red."
No, she didn't.
Nah, she didn't.
Yeah. Come on.
Sounded good.
Yeah, she didn't say
Yeah.
Go
Rolled
Big
off
Red.
the tongue nicely.
Who else we got on this list? Nick
This
Nolte.
is such a niche list of niche actors.
It's very random.
Like,
It's very random.
Everybody's from somewhere.
Warren actually stayed. Thank you, Warren. Good job by you. People make a pilgrimage to his house.
yeah.
I still have people talking about this. So
Chicago doesn't have that many big actors born in there. I think it's only Robin Williams and Harrison Ford and
What have
I'm
they
being
ever done?
sarcastic.
I can
I'm
tell.
being sarcastic.
So I was going to ask you, Matt, though, like
Terrence Howard. Not that
People-
we want to fully claim that one.
people are
nowadays.
going to, I mean, over the next weeks and months, people are going to travel to Chicago trying to retrace the steps
Oh
of
my
the
god!
Pope.
No.
Pope
And-
tours.
I didn't think about this.
Seriously. I mean, so there's going to be
They're gonna have to be like, this is the house the Pope grew up in.
100%. Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
like, that's
God.
real.
They're not gonna like Dalton,
about-
Illinois. You're
how-
not gonna. I'm gonna tell you right now, Dalton, Illinois, not one of those places where those nice Irish Catholic folks are really going to enjoy too many tourists coming around their town.
How about like at Villanova? People are going to from all over the world are going to travel to Villanova
I'm gonna tell you
on the
something.
main line.
I'm gonna tell you something
just
right
to
now.
retrace the steps of the Pope. This is where the Pope was. He went to college. He went. His dorm was right here.
There are going to be some Europeans who are going to say, "Wow, there's a hotel in Gary, Indiana that isn't too far away from the Pope's house. Let's go book there and let's stay at those hotels at Gary, and then we'll just drive to Dalton, Illinois." That's going to be a culture shock for some of those Italians and Europeans and whatnot, and just people from around the world. When they go to Dalton, Illinois, to just see the most regular ass
It was amazing.
Irish Catholic
I thought it was amazing
Chicago
yesterday
houses ever.
how quickly they found the Pope's brother in 10 seconds.
Oh, it's easy.
And
Yeah,
then-
a guy knew a guy. I guarantee you, somebody at ABC7
And
knew
then-
him.
that picture that got out there yesterday, like he was in the background of that picture from the 05 World
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Well,
Where did you guys come up with
you got to
this?
understand that the 05 World Series is like the greatest moment in some of those people, like in that area, like their lives. Like
Well,
all those.
yeah, they
all
won
those-
the World Series.
No. But we're not just talking about like, oh, it was a cool moment. It is like a defining cultural moment for that area of Chicago, like that specific
it
area.
was life defining for me
can
when the my team won the World
can I
Series,
te-
and I even live there.
Can I tell you this right now?
Yes,
When they said he's from Dalton, Illinois, and he's a Cubs fan, I said to my dad, I go,
liars,
no way.
liars.
I go, no way. You don't get Cubs fans.
It's
from that
classic Cubs
deep.
fan propaganda.
It is.
You
was.
just assume.
He must love the Cubs.
ABC never lies.
You just assume.
They said it was he's a Cubs fan. I believe him.
They put it
I
on
don't
the
know.
marquee.
Yeah.
That is classic Cubs fan behavior.
I don't know
He's
where all
from
this
Chicago.
conversation came from
He
about.
must be a Cubs fan.
I don't know where all this
Amazing.
conversation came about him being a Cubs fan. He's been a Sox fan his entire life. I mean, it's
It's so good.
I think they were paid to by the White Sox, who need some good pub.
No.
That to say that the Pope is a White Sox fan.
No.
look.
That picture in the 05 World Series, it was in the Sun-Times, looks like he's being held against his will, or he just was supporting the rest of the family. So he went to the World Series because he's never been to the World Series. But actually, on days off from the papacy, when he would be back from Peru, he'd go and sit in the bleachers.
He was
don't know,
probably
man.
pissed. He was probably pissed in 2016 when the Cubs won the World Series. I
It's
can't
probably
believe
gonna.
this.
It's probably gonna take more than God to fix that franchise, though. I mean, they're gonna. I mean, I'm
They
a
have the
believer,
Pope.
but it's gonna have to be all hands on deck. I mean, it's
I'd like them to continue playing the Kansas City
Uh,
Royals.
I'm sure you would.
Hockey Dad says,
Hi,
was
Hockey
in
Dad.
terms of endearment the best movie filmed in Nebraska.
Mm,
Jack was in that movie.
that.
Deborah Winger, who at the time was dating the governor, that people were hiding in the bushes outside of the
Deborah
governor's
Winger.
mansion.
Nice.
My wife's aunt is in that movie.
Really?
Look at that.
Does she still get a check?
I don't know. They live in Switzerland. She's doing quite well for herself.
Wow.
I got a couple
That's
cousins
quite the
who are in
life.
home run.
Josh has people in Switzerland.
I do. I do. You need a
She
you
was
need a
in
Swiss
terms
contact.
of endearment and now lives in Switzerland.
Uh-huh.
That's an incredible life.
Married
That's
to a
awesome.
coffee magnate.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this
How-
a
what-
money laundering deal?
I Don't know. I'm going to be completely honest with
right.
you.
Where did you go to their wedding?
No, I was not in the family at that time.
Okay. Have you
Ah.
interacted with her?
Yes.
Okay.
Many, many times.
Did they give nice gifts to your son?
They do.
Is this like Jordan Belfort's aunt who they, remember Jordan Belfort had the aunt and then she died and then they had to go take the boat over to Monaco or whatever and they got in a crash. That whole this is like that. Okay.
No, not quite like that.
All right. Got you.
I'm now really curious what the Pope's favorite thing to eat at Guaranteed Rate Field is now. I wonder if is he a bacon on the stick guy? Is he a corn off the cob guy? Did he like Walk Off? He would have been a fan when Walk Off was there. When you can get chow mein in a big old White Sox.
Oh, that sounds cool.
You can get chow mein in a White Sox helmet.
Okay.
And it was called Walk Off, WOK off.
Oh, I get it.
Clever.
Yeah,
I get it.
There was
People always make fun of me because I got paella at a Rays game
No.
once.
Dude, I got tamales at a White Sox game. It was some of the best tamales I've ever had. I had Big Bill's Barbecue, which is an awesome, awesome spot at the South. The South is some of the best food. We got to have him do an interview and have that s'more shake.
You're going to get the Pope on?
I know people.
Good get.
I don't think you could get the Pope on.
He grew up 10 miles away from where my dad grew up.
Like, who would you go through?
I don't think you could get the Pope on.
Like, do you think he has a media relations department?
I don't know if it's anything like
right?
Nebraska's. I think that'll be
Is there media
pretty
inquiries?
easy.
Pope?
There is more here.
I tell you right now, I have 2 degrees of separation from the Pope now, for sure.
Contacts. Pope contacts.
He's got his cell listed.
I could get in contact with Blaze Cupich, who can get me in contact with Robert.
Yeah, I got the press.vatican. Okay, all right, here we go.
Get in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a big list. It's also in Italian,
but tell
so
me,
I don't understand it.
But if you write in there that one of the guys is from Chicago, then they'll get back to us.
And he loves Villanova basketball.
Yes, sure.
Go Chris Jenkins.
You got to pick. Do you want to take the Big Ten route or do you want to take the Big East route?
What
He's
do you mean?
Chicago's Big Ten Pope.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's a Big East Pope.
He is if you looked at him, he's a Big Ten guy.
He is a Big East Pope. He went to Villanova.
He was born in Chicago.
Chicago is not a Big Ten town.
Do you know that he chose to go to Villanova, but fate put him in Chicago? He could have been born anywhere around the world.
That should tell you more about the fact that he's a Big East Pope.
But God said, you know what? Do you know what's going to bring this clergy together?
Villanova.
A man born and raised in the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
Who all he knows is Johnny's beef.
Who chose to leave
Pequods.
and go to a Big East school.
And Gene and Jude's and Wolfies.
Couple of things here.
Okay.
This is from
Big
our good
loss for
friend
the Pope.
Matt Lothrop, formerly of Channel 7.
Hi, Matt.
Now works, he does a great job. Him and Bonnie Ryan work together a lot.
Matt. Yes,
at,
good to hear from you, Matt.
He is doing
Thank you.
wonderful work for Children's Hospital.
Yes.
He said the actor who played Bernie in Weekend at Bernie's is from Omaha.
That is correct, yes.
Whoa.
He was on West Side's golf team that won state.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's a great tidbit.
Look at that.
Now, we have another question here.
Do you know how great that is, by the way? You could go off and accomplish incredible things in Hollywood, but you're still defined on your state championships.
You're Bernie.
Hey, West Side's alum role, non-athletes, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How many? So look at Warren Buffett. Hey, Warren, I know you're all accomplishing everything, but how many state titles can you win?
This is from a Millard resident. They said, who has had a better career? Chris Klein, Millard North, or Adam Devine, Millard South?
Adam Devine.
I think Adam Devine.
He's had a late comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, he kind of just keeps popping up.
Yeah.
You know?
He does.
He's staying
Chris
in.
Klein got canceled and then came back.
Well, he's
right?
kind of out of the game.
Everybody kind of gets
Sweet
canceled.
Magnolia's last one that he was kind of in.
It's been a
On
while
Netflix?
since I've seen him do anything.
Well, he got in.
Adam Devine just kind of pops up. He's a character guy, and there's always a spot for Adam Devine.
Mm-hmm.
So Righteous Gemstones he was in.
Absolutely.
Workaholics.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Modern Family.
Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
He showed up in
with Anna Kendrick.
He was in Pitch Perfect.
Yes.
All of the Pitch Perfect.
Yes.
Who? Oh, that
Adam
guy.
Devine.
Yeah, that guy. I like that guy.
Okay, good.
I didn't know who he was off of his name.
Chris Klein was in Benchwarmers 2, Breaking Balls.
Dear Lord.
2019.
Hey, his career. Hey,
Never saw that one, Josh.
the American
Really?
Pie movies. He was on the upward
he was
swing.
great. Yeah, he was a handsome man, perfect slice of Americana. If they were casting a Superman movie directly after American Pie, he could have been Superman.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he was one of like a handful of actors that was going to be Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah,
Okay.
they thought he was going to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Oh, really?
He
And
was
then
gonna
they were
be the
like,
guy.
it has to be someone no one's ever seen before.
I killed
Great
him.
call.
The children.
All right. So in this case, Millard South 1, Millard North nothing.
Yeah.
And I think he. I think
Tough one.
I think Adam a couple years ago came back. Didn't you stand up? Wasn't he at the Funny Bone or somewhere? And so he went and hung out at Millard South.
Adam Devine?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a big show at the Orpheum.
So
Okay.
Adam Devine is one of the rare situations where he was not born in Omaha, but was raised in Omaha and graduated from Millard South High School. It's the opposite of what we usually see.
Whoa, I was misinformed by a tweeter and then corrected. Matt said Chris Klein went to Millard West.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
yes, that makes more sense.
So there you go. Person that said he went to Millard North. I did not know Chris Klein.
I didn't either.
So he had to be in one of the original classes at Millard West then.
Yeah, he wasn't he the same class as Nick?
Yeah, or like a
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
either like year behind.
Yeah,
or,
they were very close to each other.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right. Look at that. We've covered all of Millard. Any other high schools? You want to do the most famous person from each high school?
Wait.
Well,
Chris
mine-
Klein.
You're now
Chris Klein was
Central.
born in Hinsdale, Illinois.
Well, sorry, he graduated from Millard West.
He's ours.
You can have him.
He's ours.
Kind of figured you
Hey,
said
I
that,
think
Now-
my high school might win.
Yeah, I think your high school might have the most famous list of
My high school probably beats your high school, whatever yours is.
We have all the McCaskies. So
Okay, nobody cares about that.
you mean the like sole proprietors of the charter franchise of the NFL?
Oh, you mean like the worst franchise in the NFL?
You watch your mouth. All right.
They
All right?
suck.
You know, life could be so easy if I were you and I just decided to be Rob Lowe and wear the NFL hat and all my teams won
They
all
suck.
the time. All right.
They suck.
It would be so easy if I was Connor Happer.
They stink. I'm sorry.
And look, there's a reason why the Pope came from Chicago, and it's because of the adversity that he had to go through being a Chicago Bears fan. We also have disgraced. We have the disgraced former president of the Blackhawks, John McDonough.
Oh, okay.
Great at building Stanley Cup championship teams. Also great at covering up sexual assaults that happened for multiple years across his franchise. So,
Nice.
but man knows how to scout a left winger.
Josh is vying to be the most famous person
Uh-huh.
from Burke
It's
with Alex Henry
and Dan Jackson.
and Dan Jackson. Yes.
This Omaha Central High School alumni Wikipedia
It's deep.
page is terribly incomplete.
Really?
It's just the athletes.
Well, that's a good start.
Gail Sayers, good start.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Every
There's,
running back that went to Nebraska in the 90s.
There's
Oh.
a Buffett in there.
Here's one you won't be able to beat. We have Matt Mooney went to our school.
Who's Matt Mooney?
He was the hero in the 2018 NCAA tournament who played with Texas Tech.
He went
With
to
Ja-
South Dakota and then
Oh.
transferred to Texas
Yeah,
Tech.
Okay.
yeah, Matt Mooney.
All right.
It was great. They talked about how Matt Mooney struggles. They wrote a whole thing about all the struggles he had to go through, and one of them was had a broken couch in college. Like he just had a broken couch when he went to college, and that was a struggle that he had to adverse.
Wow. You're right. I can't beat that.
You can't beat that, no.
Can't beat Matt Mooney's couch.
Ours is Alan Lazard.
Oh, good one.
we have the president / CEO of Golf USA. I didn't know that. Gary Burke. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those of us, the three others in this room that went to public high schools, I mean,
I still think mine pretty much dominates whatever you've been saying.
I
over
don't
there.
even know what you
yeah.
haven't even said one person.
Josh said Gail Sayers.
Okay, but we have all the McCaskies.
I'm on green.
I don't know, man.
Calvin Jones, Keith Jones.
Yeah.
We have the quarterback who played quarterback before Tony Romo
The quarterback who played quarterback before Tony Romo
at Eastern Illinois.
At Eastern Illinois.
At Eastern
Yeah.
Illinois. I was gonna say like for the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Chris James, he was a backup running back at Wisconsin.
Okay.
He came in and he was behind Gordon, and then it was going to be his job. And then I think Taylor came in and took it from him. We don't have a strong alumni list.
We have the first amphibious pitcher in Major League Baseball.
The guy who played for the Oakland A's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's amphibious.
Matt, what? What's his name?
His name is Pat.
Pat.
And he's probably listening to the show right now because
Pat
I think he's
Vendetti.
in town.
Hi, Pat.
Oh.
Hi, Pat. Good to
Hey,
hear
Pat.
from you.
And that was a really cool.
We'll see you this weekend.
That was a really cool featurette they did on him for ESPN. Like I watched that growing up with like the different club he had to have.
ESPN.
Are you making fun of how I say ESPN?
No, I'm making fun of Jeremy Schaap.
Mhm.
Jeremy Schaap. ESPN. And it's
Did
sad.
did all the Vendettis go to Central?
Yes.
That's a great family.
It is. It is. If you went to Central, you probably graduated with a Vendetti at some point.
Our alumni list. I haven't looked at this before. We are weak at Notre Dame. In our list is winner of the CBS TV show The Amazing Race.
Hello.
No name.
Ernie Halverson.
Oh,
You ever heard of-
Ernie?
Henry Fonda. Well, you probably haven't actually.
I had to look him up when you guys were talking about him. We have the strength and conditioning coach for the Detroit Tigers.
I was ready for you to say a lot of teams. The Detroit Tigers was not one of them.
No. Well, we also had the head trainer for the Atlanta Hawks.
That one's on me.
Yeah,
I'm
all
just
we
going-
have is a suspended Major League Baseball umpire, Pat Hoberg, who's a graduate of
Oh, yeah.
Rivendell.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Whatever happened?
Well,
with
look,
that?
I'm looking at the page right now on Wikipedia, and Tradion made the list. Good job, Tradion Hollins. Man, it's been a while since I've seen Tradion's name. Every once in a while, he'll do a post on Facebook that I really enjoy.
Whoa, Brandon says not only is Johnny Carson, of course, from Norfolk,
Mhm.
the voice of Tony the Tiger,
Yes,
Whoa, hello.
he's got a very funny name.
Thurl
Yeah,
Ravenscroft.
Mhm.
Oh, love that. That sounds awesome. Thurl Ravenscroft. That's a
Now,
great name.
I would like to meet somebody that went to school with him, and at the time he had that voice,
yeah.
and you're like, wow. Tony the Tiger was sitting in my classroom.
What did Tony the Tiger sound like?
They're great.
Okay, yeah, I remember that now. Yeah,
See, how could you get away with that? Once people find out that you're the voice of Tony the Tiger, that's all they want you to do.
I know.
It's
Can
like
you
the-
say it for me?
It's like the Madden, the EA Sports. It's in the game guy. Where I mean, that's got to be. That's gonna be a tough life. Everywhere that dude goes, now they know his face as well.
Right.
So it's like the same song and dance. I bet every day. Like,
How about
Hey,
the
can you say
SpongeBob
it?
guy?
yeah, he's older though, but he's protected. Like he goes to Comic-Con and stuff like that, and like I don't think he's really out in the boot.
They're probably coming up to him and saying, "Could you do the SpongeBob
Would you know
laugh?"
what the SpongeBob guy looked like?
I don't know who any of these people look like.
Okay,
I don't know what any of these people.
I don't know what the. I know the SpongeBob guy's a little smaller. He's a little tiny guy.
That makes sense. He's got a
The
high
EA
voice.
Sports guy, I would if the EA Sports guy walked in, I would like if he was out and about here, I would know exactly who he is. Right away.
He did a bunch of
Really?
media last year when the game came back.
No, he was. If he walked in, I'd be
It's
like
in the
EA Sports
game.
guy. I don't know his name, but doesn't that suck? He's just
Probably
EA
Bill.
Sports guy. He's a Bill. You say he's
I said
Bill?
probably Bill. I don't know. I don't know that anybody, but like you said, I don't know that like he doesn't have to be that all the time because nobody knows who he is.
I think now a lot of people know. I think now enough people know to make his life a nuisance.
You just said you wouldn't know him if he walked.
I
right in
said
there.
I would know him.
Oh, you would.
I would.
Oh, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Well, we know that.
Okay.
That's established.
All right. Well, let's. I think that's it.
Have a good weekend.
Crossover.
Have a good call this weekend.
Thank you. I'm excited. Baseball. We love baseball. That's the crossover.
Oh, no, they didn't. You know the story with the Pirates and the usher?
The usher.
Oh, they made a bobblehead.
That looks like AI for the record, but
Okay.
I don't understand.
Okay,
it.
so
Guy,
look, the game had been over for a while at PNC last week.
Yeah.
And there was an usher who, you try and get the stragglers out, and this guy confronted him, and they got into it. And the next thing you know, the usher beat the crap out of this guy, took off his shirt, took off his belt, and started beating the fan with his belt.
have you not seen this
How
video?
did I not see this?
Oh my God, it's incredible. It's
Yeah.
like straight out of World Star.
First glance, that looked like AI.
Okay.
But I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, he got suspended, but he beat the crap out of a fan. Now here's the thing. I always say, keep it moving. Why are you messing with people? This fan clearly was on, had been drinking or whatever. the usher just went a little bit too far.
Probably taking the belt off. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Or, like getting a hold of security to come and, arrest the guy.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that one. That's the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It is Friday. We'll start things off next.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone.
Bright sunshine and warm afternoon temperatures continue with the high for your Friday in Omaha of 82 degrees. Winds will remain light out of the east. Mostly clear tonight and mild, a low of 54. For your Saturday, sunshine, even warmer with a high of 86. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax. It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hudson with you. What's going on, everybody?
Hello.
If you're a baseball fan, We got some stuff for you this weekend.
Oh yeah.
If you're a red team fan, you're excited because your
Big
team's
opportunity.
got a big opportunity. If you're a blue team fan, same thing. Big opportunity in front of you. Big weekend. A lot of stuff on tap. Can't wait to be at the ballpark this weekend, Josh. Very, 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 very excited. But before we go anywhere today, I'd like to announce that I am washed.
Oh no.
I'm washed. I'm canceled.
Oh my gosh.
I've
tried so hard to get you to not be canceled.
Well, it's too late. I have to cancel myself.
Wow.
I played 2 games of slow pitch softball last night, and on my final swing of the night, I exploded my oblique into smithereens, and now it feels like I'm constantly being stabbed in my kidneys, and I am in dire pain, and I need an endless supply of ibuprofen, and Michael Severe offered me some cream, but he's not in town.
Oh no.
So he can't give me the cream. And so I'm washed.
What about the clear?
And it's over. And I used to be able to just swing a bat in a golf club without concern that my oblique would be blown into smithereens. But now is not the time anymore. This is bad.
Got a big weekend. What do you?
I'll be fine. I mean, I could talk. I just can't laugh like really hard and make any sudden movements.
Laughter is my goal.
Well, I tried coughing this morning too, and that didn't go very well.
No coughing.
Yeah. I mean, I can do it all, but it just comes with a great, great deal of pain for the moment.
I can be entertaining. I can be myself. I can.
Yeah, yes. Continue on as normal. I just wanted to let you know, like, if I ever cut off a laugh about 2, guffaws in.
Okay.
That's why. It's not because it stopped being funny suddenly. It's because it started to pain me greatly. Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate your honesty. A lot of guys in your position would have said, no, I need to be.
No, there's no choice for me.
Okay.
We already got 1 guy on the IL. We can't have 2. That's not happening. Cody writes in,
hi, Cody.
The Creighton game will need to be called from a hospital bed. The injured boys. Yep. And I'm told that the oblique injury, the oblique is a bad muscle to injure. At least I know this from many, multiple years of watching Jorge Soler try to be a baseball player that plays for the Kansas City Royals. And that guy would just swing really hard and his oblique would be exploded.
You should have watched him play for the Atlanta Braves.
Well, I know he hit that home run in that World Series one time.
It was great.
That was when his oblique was healthy.
Mm.
So, I don't know. So that just wanted to let you guys know. Right off the top of the show today, I'm washed, and if I ever claim to be able to do anything athletic from that perspective again, just don't believe me. Don't believe me. I can't do it. It's over. I'm too old.
We got to save you from yourself.
Yep.
At a certain point.
Yeah, because I start to think, I'm like, wow, I could really do that. And turns out I can't do anything. It's over. Today on the show, Bryan Munson will join coming up in about 15, 20 minutes. Talk some recruiting with him. Brian Christopherson at 11:30. Steve Sipple is coming up at the bottom of the noon hour. That's the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We'd love to hear from you all today on the show. 402-951-1620. You can call or text that number on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Once again, 402-951-1620. Tweeted Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Josh Show at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. Hello, everybody. How we doing? Theo writes in breaking news for us. Jordon Hudson banned from UNC football practice. Or is she?
I've heard she's been welcomed with open arms.
We'll investigate during the show. Also, we have a couple pairs of Creighton Baseball tickets for the Sunday game, Ed Servais' last home game. People have asked, and we are in the process of delivering, but you will have to earn it. There will be questions. Stay tuned for that today, coming up at 12:45. That's where we're going to give away the Creighton baseball tickets. And then we're going to send you into a beautiful, beautiful baseball-filled weekend. As Jeff writes in,
Jeff?
the Happer Creighton Baseball show. That's exactly what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Honk, 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 honk. It's a big series, Josh. I can't do anything about it. I get the big game feelings in my tum-tum.
Whoa, big game feelings in your tum-tum for this one. This is first place Creighton Blue Jays.
Allegedly, kind of.
By percentage points.
Yeah. John emails in.
Hi, John.
Subject line, blown up muscles. Hurting yourself swinging a bat in softball means that you are officially old. I'm sorry, those are the rules. No, I know. That's right. Yep. That's 100% right. So.
When did you come to the realization? Did you
immediately?
Was it immediately?
Immediately
Okay.
upon swinging.
Or was it, no, I just kind of moved my foot the wrong way. I feel like next time if I got out there.
Nope. Nope. I knew it right away.
Okay.
I don't think there was like a pop or anything like that, but it was quite painful immediately. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Bill's got some advice for you on YouTube.
Hey, Bill.
Regarding the oblique, whatever you do, don't keep thinking about how painful it will be to sneeze.
Yep. I've already experienced a cough and like trying to blow a snot rocket out of my nose or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's already bad enough. So sneezing would be the end. It would be over.
Wow.
Brandon writes in.
Hi, Brandon.
I tore my Achilles during COVID 2020 playing old man softball that ended my softball career. I was 46 years old. It was time. Brandon, congratulations for making it that long. At this rate, I have absolutely no chance. I am not yet 33.
You never know how many swings you got in you.
You never know how many swings you got left. Jake writes in.
Hi, Jake.
Don't worry, Connor. Just think about the Royals and you'll be fine. You won't feel any pain at all. Hashtag fountains up. Great take by Flaky Jake. Excellent job, because the Royals are smoking hot, folks. Watch out. That does make me feel a lot better.
They don't play the White Sox this weekend.
No, but they play a different Sox who are kind of also a disaster.
They've got problems of their own.
Problems. Yes.
One of them being
a man.
A man, yes.
A man. Yeah, they got a lot of different stuff going on. All right. Elsewhere today on the show, yes, we will dive back into the Pope and how classic Cubs fan propaganda made him a Cubs fan briefly, but it turned out he was not. Very interesting. Momentum is building for a 16-team college football playoff.
I got something for this. Starting
with the 2026 season. The NFL Brazil game is coming to YouTube?
Question mark?
Baseball weekend. What are we building toward? Banned the Jordon Hudson story or not. And more RPI manipulation on the West Coast last night. Can't wait to tell you about all these things coming up on the show. We're very happy that you're with us, and you stick with us for your Friday afternoon. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone.
After further review, the host is deemed to be out of bounds. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
All right, so we all get I guess, Josh, you might be a listener to the Pablo Torre podcast.
Yeah, Pablo Torre
finds out. Yes. So he does investigations on the reg.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he does investigations on the reg.
Uh-huh.
He has done an episode on Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson.
Good thing to do an investigation on, yes.
I agree. This is necessary. So, in his podcast, he mentioned that as of now, that Jordon Hudson, Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend, has been banned from the facility. He said, this is just I haven't listened to the podcast.
Just came out today.
It just came out today. He says, I talked to 11 people who dealt directly with Jordon Hudson as she took power in Bill Belichick's life. A lot is getting aggregated from this episode. Just know that the full episode investigation is even weirder, and it's worth your time. So that's a good pimp for his podcast. Apparently, Bill Belichick's girlfriend crashed the set of his commercial, a six-figure type of deal for Bill Belichick.
It was the Dunkin' commercial, right? Yeah.
She left the set, came back, and she was wearing a yellow polka dot bikini. The premise of the ad, according to my sources, was Jordon Hudson by the pool trying to get Bill's attention. The crew filmed her, sources say, but the camera might not have been on. She was trying.
Okay.
Yeah. And then sources tell Pablo Torre that Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordon Hudson, was now banned from the football facility. One Belichick family source adds, there is deep worry for how detrimental Jordon could be for not just North Carolina, but Bill's legacy, reputation, and everything he has built and worked for over decades. This podcast may get a listen from from your boy.
It's a good pod. If you like Pablo and investigative, it is a pretty good podcast.
I don't know Pablo really.
Yeah.
But I like investigative podcast, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So
still entertaining.
There has been a response from North Carolina. They've felt the need to put out a statement about this. Very interesting.
All right.
While Jordon Hudson is not an employee at the university or Carolina Athletics, she is welcome to the Carolina football facilities. Jordon will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of his responsibilities for Carolina football and the university. I don't think that North Carolina really understands what she's the control that she seems to have in this situation.
To me, that statement reads a lot like, we don't have to ban her. She doesn't work here.
Right.
Which is true, but not enough.
Yeah, it seems like she's kind of doing a lot in this situation. Sam writes in. Sam, by the way, congratulations in advancing in the Creighton Twitter bracket. Was following along with the drama last night. Sam says, I can't believe the camera crew shooting that commercial used toddler level bits to calm her down. I mean, seriously. All right, come on. Just act like you're filming her for 2 seconds.
Well, some might say she
is
a similar age to a toddler.
Once again, she was the whole thing about her stopping the CBS interview or not stopping the CBS interview, whatever, and then the still shot of her like hiding behind the desk like nobody was going to see her. That just really, really struck me the wrong way. It really, really didn't hit right for me. And yeah, all this is not good. Now, the question I have, I guess, from North Carolina had a swift response to this Pablo Torre thing.
Almost as if it was locked and ready to go.
Who did this? Who wrote this? Did she write this?
Oh,
I don't know.
I hadn't thought of that. I found some letterhead lying around.
They keep engaging.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps getting worse because she keeps caring what people say. Obviously, she's up to no good, it seems.
Do you remember when Bill first got hired at Chapel Hill and the contract came out and there were weird outs for both sides, and we did the will Bill Belichick actually coach a game at North Carolina?
Yeah, the first big out is coming up. It's in the summer.
And y'all,
like his buyout goes down significantly, I think, like in the middle of the summer.
Y'all laughed at us for suggesting that Bill Belichick might not ever coach a game at the University of North Carolina. Boy, don't you think they might want to...
I don't know.
Bring it up in a meeting or something.
I'm fascinated because you got to, as Mike says on YouTube, North Carolina actually has. They can't be happy about this.
Well, it's the Edelman thing, right? Where he said this guy built a career and a legacy off of no distractions, and this thing is all distractions.
The whole thing is one big distraction or several big distractions. Quick phone call here from the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. It's Rick. Rick, good morning. What's up?
Well, good morning. The sun's shining. My solar panels are working today on my gray hair. Hey, this new thing to college football, this young female, kind of in the old days, they said when an elderly lady would date a younger gentleman, she was referred to as, I believe, a cougar. And this is kind of the opposite situation. I think we could name her like maybe the kitten. She could be the North Carolina kitten. And I think she's really one good capitalist person. And can you imagine if Bill Belichick came to Omaha to recruit? And you know how rules always around kissing babies or handing out candy bars or something.
Oh, no.
If she was out there dancing at that club 180th, the crowds that would bring in.
Oh, no.
I mean, he could really recruit. So thanks for taking my call. But, hey, at least Bill still thinks young. And she could probably use a pair of glasses. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay, Rick. All right.
What just happened?
I don't think she's I I don't think. I don't know. I don't know specifically what he was referencing. I don't like the nickname, for the record.
I'd also like to go on record that I don't love that nickname.
Okay. All right. Let's take a. Let's take a. I don't think she's like, All right. Let's just take a break. Bryan Munson is going to join us on the other side. We will be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left, zoom, buster. 63 bang, Z Maui. Alert, Paradise, Z Burger, Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
That is right. This is how we get Bryan Munson's weekend started here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. And Munson joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Hi, Munson. How are you?
Bring on the weekend, baby.
Yeah. Okay. So we probably are past the point now where we just, we can stop talking about the weather and comparing the weathers because we're good. I have nothing to complain about anymore around here, at least for now. I guess, you never know in a couple weeks, but for right now, we're sitting pretty up here.
I think you guys had me absolutely crushed earlier this week. I think on Tuesday, my buddy called from Omaha. It was like, 70 or 75 degrees.
It's perfect.
Sunny. Yeah. And I think when he called me here, I think it was dark as night. We were in the middle of a tornado watch, and I don't think I had seen the sunshine in like 16 hours. And literally, my yard was just a pond. And I'm just like, oh my goodness! And the lake we live by, not on, we live by, is literally as full as I've ever seen before. I mean, it is at the brim. And so we've got all of our water that we're going to probably get for the rest of the year until October.
Yeah.
Maybe about
make it last the entire summer.
Enjoy it.
All right. Let's talk some recruiting, as you've checked in a couple times this week, and a lot of this is based off of the quarterback commitment that Nebraska got from the 2027 class and Trey Taylor. But you noted this week about how Nebraska has extended a few different offers out there. It really seems like to me, Munson, that he is going to be a pretty big linchpin as far as that class is concerned. And that's kind of what you want from your quarterback, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to Sean and Sip last night as they were driving home, and I said, it's going to be amazing to watch the next 12, 14, 16 months or so. I mean, so obviously everybody's – it's funny because Nebraska fans want Trey Taylor to commit, and then the next thing they say is, well, he's going to decommit over the next year and a half. But then he's already kind of gone out publicly and said, why are you guys even thinking about that stuff? I'm committed to where I want to go. So I think people need to kind of, really get locked in and focused on what he can do positively for Nebraska, because it's what we didn't see with Dylan Raiola. And I think that when Nebraska tried to get any type of momentum to go into the class a couple of years back, it was you've got 18 months, and you've got guys like T. Ellis, who I wrote an update on last night from Fort Worth, Texas, who's legitimately coming to Nebraska because Trey Taylor committed to the Huskers, and he knows that the Huskers now are serious about their recruiting. So he's going to come up the first week in June. And obviously there were a ton of offers out this week, and I did put out a offer article, I think on Wednesday night, just kind of catching everybody up since about like May 1st. I think I could probably write another article. Well, I'm in the process of writing an article right now, but I could probably write another one of those today or tomorrow and basically be the same length or the same quantity of offers in that next article, because the staff is just, they're offering some of the best in the nation right now. And I think people should be really, really excited, because Trey is acknowledging all these things on social media and the interaction that he has going on with these guys. It's pretty impressive, because, obviously Tay Ellis, when we talk about him, he's a Fort Worth, Texas guy. Trey Taylor is a Chicago, Illinois guy. Obviously they're not haven't played against one another necessarily like in Pee Wee football. They don't have a long-standing relationship, but they know each other. And I think that this is like one of those things where it's always been like really kind of cool how the relationships have kind of evolved to where, they understand like, hey, he's a highly regarded guy. I'm a highly regarded guy.
Right.
I'm going to start following him, and we'll cross paths somewhere on some visit, someplace, or in a 7-on-7 competition. And I need to make sure that we're staying in touch with one another to see what he's kind of doing, because I respect his game, he respects mine. And that has really the kind of been the bond I think that Trey has with so many of those guys that are out there that he's talking to.
Yeah, at this stage, because we're talking about kids who are finishing up their sophomore year of high school and going into their junior year next year.
Yeah.
At this stage, you're still trying to kind of establish those relationships, and the more, right, like the more doors that you can open, the better. We don't even have to think about at this stage whether, they're going to end up here or, whatever it might be. Just the fact that you're allowed to now cast that net out a little wider with the connection from a guy who is out there helping you out. He immediately kind of becomes a staff member once he commits, especially as at that position.
Oh, totally. I mean, he is your big cheerleader. He's your unofficial recruiting coordinator. I think what he's seeing then obviously is after they get their offers, he's cheering them on, and let me tell you about Nebraska. Let me tell you about why I chose Nebraska. Let's talk about you taking a visit, and let me see if I can get up there the same weekend that you're going to get there. Because that was kind of the discussion, last night online when T. Ellis came out and said, I'm going to be up there June 4th. Then Trey kind of said, well, I need to make it up there to Lincoln that week as well, because that's my boy. I need to get there because that's an important one for me to make sure I'm on the campus the same time he is. So it's going to be, I mean, he's not Omaha close. He's not even Des Moines close, but right. I mean, he's close enough to where I think he could, be in Lincoln, a significant number of times, I think, over the course of the next 18 months to really impact recruiting. So it's going to be fun to watch how he peer recruits and basically how he supports, building his class that he's part of.
Added a 2026 recruit to the class this week in Jace Reynolds out of Elkhorn North. You're at 4 with, you have your quarterback in Dayton Raiola and CJ Brana. And then the one that we don't talk about is the wide receiver, Davion Bonnell White, or Whitty, who is out of Sioux Falls. So there's 4 in the class, and I'm sure you've gotten this a lot this week, and maybe we've talked about it before as well. But at this stage of the game, how should Nebraska feel about where it's at? And I know there is some like, hey, we're kind of slow playing. We're going to see how the roster all works out at this moment, right. But it does feel like maybe Nebraska should be a little bit further down the line. I guess how do you stack that up as we head into the summer months?
Yeah, I think Nebraska could have been a little bit further down the line, but they did some evaluating at the end of last year. And I think that evaluation really occurred around, if the 105 becomes a real deal, how many guys that we have been recruiting now for the last 6, 8, 9 months do we feel can make the cut at 105 after 2 seasons?
Yeah.
Who's really the guy who are really the guys on our list of recruits that we feel like are going to have an impact in year 1 or in year 2? Otherwise, we might as well not recruit that guy, because we feel like in 2 years, we're going to have a tough conversation with them anywhere about going someplace else to play football. So I feel like Nebraska might have saved themselves in a lot of different ways from having those tough conversations, and maybe taking a couple of guys that were never going to go ahead and play at Nebraska or were going to be a problem down the line with the 105. And I think then that it's kind of hurt the class some initially at face value, but in the back end, if you look at the 27 guys that we have confirmed that are coming in for official visits in the 3 weekends in the month of June, if you did some comparison work between the 2026 guys that say we're visiting, from February last year all the way through like October, November, you're going to see very, very quickly, I think, that the type of players that they have currently in that 27 confirmed official visitors are a much better group, I think, of prospects overall. I think that the part here that I'm focusing on in my next article is obviously going to be like the wide receivers. The wide receiver group is incredibly talented. I think the other group that would probably have some say as far as like the other group that would be as talented, if not more talented right now, are the offensive linemen.
Yep.
There are a ton of them already confirmed coming in through those 3 weekends, and Nebraska sits in a really good position with several of those guys. So that's probably going to be like a weekend article to kind of get people primed up for how things are going to kind of shake out next month.
I want to ask you about one more thing before we let you go and let you get into your weekend. It actually might be a pretty good primer for getting the grill going. So I saw Nebraska, and they've been really big on this, and Rules talked about it a bunch, just with their nutrition and their training table, and all of the things that the players and student athletes have access to over there, specifically as far as food is concerned. How often do you hear that from recruits? And obviously, like, I know that when they go through the building, it's like, wow, the building, I mean, it's really, really special. I know Nebraska's selling it. But how often do you hear it like, man, they got a real plan as far as it would be a big sell for me. I don't know how 17 and 18-year-olds sort of digest that information.
No, it is a huge sell. I think the nutritional side has been big. I think that there was a weekend. As soon as you were saying that, I want to say it was the Elite Junior weekend because in February, where all those guys basically had like a cooking competition, and they kind of demonstrated the capability of the resources that they had there by basically, picking up this wok kind of skillet and basically going in there and making like their own bowl of like protein and whatever else that they wanted to kind of have it in. And they had like a chef there. I think there was even like a couple of media shots like on Twitter or X that kind of outlined, those guys making their own meal and what they kind of, were doing for all the athletes. So it does get mentioned. I think that there are a couple items, within the facilities that get mentioned ahead of it. I think obviously the locker room, just because of its vast size and the number of devices and equipment that's in there. The other side that's always been mentioned, gets mentioned just about as much as the locker room does, is the recovery side. The recovery side definitely catches the recruits' eyes, but then I think nutrition is either like a number 3 or a number 4, but it definitely gets mentioned quite a bit after their visits.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the primary things it seems like they're trying to show off, certainly to kids at the moment and anybody out of the transfer portal as well. Okay, so with that, you're all primed, thinking about food and getting ready to go for the weekend. Pretty good.
Not a bad spot to be in, buddy.
See you, Munson. Thanks.
See you next week.
Bryan Munson, HuskerOnline.com. You can fire up one of his 42 grills and get it going. Get this thing going for the weekend.
Time.
It would be I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 16-year-old. And yes, I would like the really cool, flashy stuff. But I don't know, man. Like, I would hope that even then I had an appreciation for what Nebraska is doing in terms of like their nutritional plan, how much thought and effort goes into it. Like, it used to be cool that players got, they can eat for free whenever they want to, right? Like, that sounds great. People want the freedom.
Yeah.
But I really think like what sets Nebraska apart here is, you get a great experience as a college athlete, but there is structure, like a lot of structure, in terms of the things that you're putting inside of your body and when you're doing it. And it's all really, really well thought out. And they've hired professionals to kind of come in and whether it be make the food or think of the process that they're making the food with. Like, so the reason I mentioned this is because they put out a little video yesterday, as a promotional deal for the people who run the cafeteria, the Flick thing. And I'm like, damn, man, that would be such a draw to me. It would definitely be a draw to me now because I would really appreciate having basically a personal chef, and having a plan set up for me every day. I would hope that would have been something that I would have appreciated at age 17 or 18, because I think that's a really big deal.
You hear those pros say, like,
yes,
I take such great care of my body. And I don't know that I would have at 17, 18.
But it takes work, right? Like, if you're in the NBA or in the NFL or whatever, it like you kind of, one of the first things that the top guys do is like, I have to hire a personal chef.
I spend $1 million on my body as a rookie, second-year player, whatever.
Because they know if they're left to their own devices, they'll just eat candy all day long like me. And then they'll injure their oblique playing slow-pitch softball like an idiot. We don't want to do that, right?
You do not.
No, I would not encourage that. So yes, taking care of yourself, but having other people take care of you. That way you're not, you're left to your own deals. Quickly, before we take a break here, a little news. Jordy Ball. Oh, by the way, I should turn it over to the BTN.
The softball player?
Jordy Ball, the softball player, the pitcher, the hitter. She has been honored by the Big Ten. She's the Big Ten Player of the Year, and she is the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. And
that's two things.
She is on the first team All Big Ten team.
Whoa.
Along with her teammate Ava Cusack. And second teamers, Samantha Bland and Hannah Kamazand. Sorry, I haven't studied up on my Husker softball players.
What do they have on the BTN right now? Because it's not softball.
I can't. It's not?
No.
Why not?
Because they've reached the semifinal stage. Nebraska plays at 4:00 today against UCLA.
Probably reruns of yesterday's softball.
Mm.
Oh, Big Ten today. Is this live? It is.
Wow.
They're talking about Michigan at Nebraska. Oh, they're talking about baseball.
Baseball.
Whoa, there's a guy on live television talking about Big Ten baseball.
They know it exists.
Can you believe this? This is shocking information. Isn't Creighton, speaking of softball, isn't Creighton softball an 11 o'clock start today? Are we into that somewhere?
Fire up the Flow Sports.
I think it's the FS2.
Oh, really?
But
they play today at 1 against UConn.
1? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It says 11 a.m. Friday, May 9th in the notes from Patrick yesterday.
Okay. Creighton Softball's website, their schedule says 1.
Okay.
So we have a disparity.
Well, we'll see. Well, I don't know.
Let's find out.
We'll find out. Anyway, there you go. That's that's your softball update. We don't know what's going on. Platcat writes in, Ocho Cinco diet, greater than. Yeah, remember the stories from that guy? He would just sit around and eat candy all day long. Mike says, UNL nutrition, life skills, etc. does amazing work. I really do think that's a separator for Nebraska. I really do. And so the more that you can get people to sort of understand that and understand what it does for you, I think the better off you're going to be able to sell that to recruits and prospective student athletes. Any answers, Josh?
These game times have been updated as of 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
New time for Creighton UConn softball, 2 p.m.
Central?
Yes.
All right.
It is on BEDN, whatever that is.
Big East Digital Network, which don't believe is available over television.
The St. John's Providence matchup at 5 is on FS2. And then the third game of the day is also back on the Big East Digital Network. Tomorrow's games, FS1 and FS2.
Okay. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
Let's take a break. Bryan Christopherson is going to join us on the other side. We'll go back to a little bit closer to what's going on the field as of now for Nebraska. Well, I guess not as of now, but probably more like as of this fall. So we'll do that when we return. Oh, actually, one more thing. Happy birthday to our sweet baby boy,
Dylon.
Because
I spit hot fire.
Happy birthday, Dylan Raiola. Very important to know that it's his birthday today.
What's he going to do?
Maybe he'll probably be at the Nebraska baseball game, I'd assume, right?
You'd think so.
Wearing
it is an event.
Do you think he'll be wearing a sash?
A sash and a turtleneck.
A sash that says it is my birthday?
Birthday boy.
Birthday boy. He shows up to the Husker baseball game and starts the Go Big Red chants tonight.
I like that for him.
It sounds like a great night, honestly. Who wouldn't love spending their birthday at a baseball field? I do it pretty much every single year. All right, we'll be back after this with BC on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Brian. Bryan Christopherson.
I gotta take this. It's Hap.
B. Rooney drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, as we almost always are on Friday, we're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Bryan Christopherson of Husker 247. BC, hello, how are you?
I'm good because I just got parked. Do you ever get in a situation where you're at an intersection and there's two lanes you got to get through, and it feels like you're stuck there for like 5 minutes?
Uh-huh.
I was stuck there for 5 minutes, and so I was worried I was going to still be stuck there talking to you, but I'm not, so that's good.
I love when the timing just works, you know? It makes you feel like maybe you hit a couple green lights on the way back, you know? It just feels like it's all going to work out for you. The sun's out. I don't know. It feels pretty good.
Yeah, I'm feeling better than I was 2 minutes ago when I was saying foul-mouthed words about what was the situation. So I'm good now, though.
Did you say any foul-mouthed words when Will Compton's podcast partner, Taylor Lewan, wanted to get rid of the skinny N on Nebraska's helmet?
No. I'm a traditionalist, as you would assume, so I say don't touch that thing. But I understand where an outsider would peek his head over the fence and say something like that. Like, I get it, but there's just been too many big football games with that skinny in, and I can't go away from my loyalty to that. I did like the NU they had in 21 against
Buffalo game. Yep.
I thought so if you busted that out like once in a while, you wouldn't hear a peep from me about it, but not to change it for good. No,
I'm with you. My point on it when I talked about it this week was like, it's not really, for Nebraska. Michigan's one of the programs too, coincidentally, which Taylor Lewan is an alumni of. It's not really about how it looks. You can certainly make the case to me that it's not, that it's not updated or it's not the flashiest of helmet. Sure. But it's not about how it looks. It's the fact that it's iconic, and it's just like you can't change it. It's too late in that game at this point. It's over. Like, Michigan's never going to go away from the wings on their helmet, and they shouldn't. But could you make the case that it's not the sharpest looking helmet? Yes, I think you could.
There's something to there's a quality to being understated sometimes too with uniforms, and I don't know. Is Millard North still doing the thing where they put the tape on their helmets? Like, I like that, stuff like that just becomes a tradition that is there for like 30 years, and some people can't even explain why it started or how it started, but it's just there, and that's part of the beauty of sports uniforms to me.
Last time I saw them, I think they were like, because when I was in high school, it was like masking tape. Like, it was like old school masking tape, and then I think they changed the tape to like blue tape. Like they kind of zhuzhed it up a little bit, but I think they're still doing the tape. It's part of Millard North now for some reason.
I should know that. My brother played there and went there, but I don't. But so if they're not, they need to go back to it.
Agreed.
Anyway. That's my hot Millard North uniform take for the day.
Oh, we're gonna be talking about uniforms, I'm sure, at some point this summer. So get ready for that. But you wrote about. I thought this is an interesting. And you've been doing this from all the positions standpoint on Husker 247. But I liked your dive on the tight ends, because I think you can make a case, if things work out from an injury perspective, that this group has a lot of depth and a lot to look forward to, and a pretty high ceiling. But then there is, of course, a world where it kind of looked like it did during the spring, where you're unsure about a couple of the guys, and then you have a couple of them on the shelf as well. Like, it seems like there's a pretty wide gap between what you might get out of the tight end room and what you might be forced to get with the tight end room. Like, would you agree with that?
Yes, there is. It's one of the best storyline position groups on the roster. I laid that out at the beginning. You know, obviously the Harburg story, everybody kind of puts at the top, and just his 1 year at the position and what can you make of it in such a short amount of time. And I think people have to appreciate his attitude about it when he's done interviews about, you know, I think it would be hard, like if I trained to be a quarterback for like 8 to 10 years and saw QBs coach a specialist, you know, and like that's what I wanted to do, and then to give up that dream along the way. But he's taken it like I learned from the process of what it takes to work at that particular position, and now I'm applying it to the craft of tight end and just trying to get better at this one thing every day, and then pick something else out the next day. And so obviously that's an exciting thing to watch this fall. How far can Harburg take it? I think Lindenmeyer is one of the, I've said this, I think, on this show. If you said like, okay, make a list, which I'll probably do, of course, at some point this summer, of like the top 5, like just do your job. He's reliable. I know it's going to get done, guys. Lindenmeyer's probably on that list. And I thought Holgerson slipped in an interesting comment too this spring about how he's one of the better receivers on the team. And he only had 5 catches last year, but 4 of them came when Holgerson was the OC. He had a couple in the Pinstripe Bowl. And so I think there's kind of an assumption, and it could be correct, that Harburg's going to sort of like burst out and lead the way in receiving. But I wonder if Lindenmeyer is going to be a lot more active than we've ever seen in that part. That's something to watch. And then your question, I think, hits on, though, like Carter Nelson, you know, can he get full speed? It seemed like he was in a good spot at the Husker games, sprinting out of the tunnel. He's up to 200, almost 40 pounds. And so there's excitement there. And then Mac Markway is like a sort of a wild card from LSU. And can he get all the way back from the ACL?
I think
they do have a walk-on or two that could be heard from too. Caden Echternock's a guy that I think could be in the rotation.
For me, it's definitely those latter two that you mentioned with Carter Nelson and Markway. Like we haven't seen Mac Markway really at all because he was a surprise when he got here. And then he immediately got hurt, and he's working his way back from that injury right now. I don't know. Do you ever hear anything about the things that he could potentially bring, or is it kind of wait until he gets on the field?
I don't think they got a good look at him at all, because it was like the first play or two he was here that it happened. He just stepped on the field, and it was a freak deal, like right away. And so Satterfield didn't get any sort of look at him up close. And this spring he was still limited or out. I do know, like, if you go back, and I do this with our archive sometimes, like, he was doing well at LSU early on in the sense of, like, and I mean, he wasn't like lighting the world on fire or anything, but as like a freshman, like, he was getting talked about off the bat as like fitting in there, and he could contribute a little bit. And so, I mean, that's kind of impressive, like a second year player, at least being in the mix at a school like that. So I think there's hope that as long as he's back to 100%, you know, before the injury, that he could be definitely someone that could get in the mix. But we got to see him out there first, and you got to hear some summer updates on those guys to make sure they are part of it, and then you see how much momentum they can get in a short amount of time.
BC, I know we did the schedule memorization process thing last week. I hope that was helpful. The little device you came up with of the M's and that was really good. That's really helping me along the way. And I think people have been doing some more thinking about, and they will as game times come out and stuff like that this week about Nebraska's schedule. And there's more and more chatter about the record and what it might end up being. So let's just kind of lay a base for that conversation. Where do you start when you start to think about like a baseline of where Nebraska could be from a wins and losses perspective, and then, you know, obviously the things that could bump it up, down, or, you know, up or down as you go on throughout the summer?
I think is it fair to put the baseline at 7? Does that sound right?
I think that sounds right. Yes.
Yep. That's sort of your needle. Like, it'd be really disappointing if you move down from that. Frankly, since you're looking for moving the ball down the field here, it'd be disappointing if it were stuck on that. So yeah, 7 is the number I start at. And then it's all these little topics we always talk about, but I think about, like, turnover margin a lot. And like, Rule mentioned at one point, like Nebraska hasn't been plus in that category since 2016. They were close last year. Like they were hanging around being plus, but they ended up -2. I think they were even one year during the Frost era, but there's always that thought like, well, that could bump it up a win or two if you actually ended up like +7 or +8 for a season. What would that do? And then of course you think of like special teams and, not just being a group that wants to break even, but hopefully getting that mindset that they want to break games open and making it be a culture within that locker room where even the guys who are second and third team players, they're like, I'm on special teams and I can become like a household name, like making plays there. Like as much as we talk about like, and we still got to figure out who's the punter and who's going to win the kicking job and all that. I want Nebraska on special teams to have a guy or two who emerges this year, who's like a hair on fire, gets the people fired up, like type of coverage guy, like we've had those at the past at times, but I feel like you need to kind of build that tradition again of having those type of guys who like, maybe they're third team on the depth chart at their position, but they're really good on special teams and they get known about at the dinner table by October. So
yeah,
I think turnovers, special teams, and then obviously can Raiola take that surge, and his receivers need to help him. I think you need receivers who take balls that are thought to be 50-50 and they make them 70-30, to where you expect that your guy's going to go get it.
There was some luck, like the luck factors that I saw this week. I think ESPN had it of, like Nebraska, I feel like pops up on these lists every year where they have, such a bad turnover margin, or they lose these games by, a score or less, and there's a whole bunch of them. And they're like, oh, well, Nebraska all of a sudden is a prime candidate for regression to the mean. And that's been one of the things that people have used as like, hey, I'm going to pick Nebraska to, win the Big Ten West or win 8 games or 9 games. I don't like, so they were, to your point, BC, 2 years ago when Rule got here, they were -17 in the turnover margin. Last year, they were -2. That like -2 would make you believe that there's this huge swing one way or the other. I think for the first time in a while, you look at it and you're like, well, we might have find out how big of a jump they've taken as a program, and the luck factor won't be baked into the equation at least that much.
Yeah. The luck factor does apply a little bit, but with the turnover thing with Nebraska, this is like a systematic, like part of the fabric of like 2 decades. It goes back where it feels like they've been minus, like, feels like 17 out of like the last 20 years or something like that. And so it's just going to take those guys who, are playmakers and don't let a DB rip the ball out of your hands on a possible touchdown, and that critical moment that can help you beat Illinois, or, like guys like Willis McGahee and Javen Wright have been that close, and they've made a couple of those plays, but there's been a couple more where they just didn't quite happen. And maybe this is the year you find those extra inches Al Pacino's talking about, where that's a strip sack and a guy's running it back for a touchdown. There's too few of examples of games, like if even in the last 8 to 10 years, where that sort of play happened. Now they did have some pick sixes last year, so you got to be fair there. I always think back to like, remember the weird like 2020 season when Nebraska played Penn State, nobody was in the stands and Nebraska beat them.
Yep.
And they had a play like that where they forced a turnover, ran it and scored off of it. And I remember at the moment thinking, this just doesn't happen as much around here. Like you need, and they won that game despite being out-yarded by a decent amount. And so those are the kind of plays that I just hope pop up with more abundance here this season, that when we talk about the baseline 7, you start being that opportunistic team. Then you're talking like, okay, we're working off a baseline of 8 then, and you go from there. So we'll see if that can happen. But by the way, your scheduling talk last year was huge, or last week was big for me with the M's, the 4 M's they play right off the bat.
It's huge.
Because I was looking closer at that, and I'm kind of been fixated on that October 4th to 18th stretch, like after Michigan, where they play like Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota. Those are 3 games like right there. I wrote about it this week. It's like you gotta find the way to get over the hump there, so you're in the upper middle of the Big Ten, and then you work from there. So people will kind of gravitate toward Michigan and Penn State on that schedule. But then you look at like October 4th through the 18th, those kind of games, that's where you want to see Nebraska start to make hay, where it becomes consistent. Not that you just expect to win because you're Nebraska. You know it's going to be tough, but you go in with the mindset like, let's take this step and win these kind of games now.
BC, one more thing before we let you go. So I've got a couple correspondences here after our Miller North conversation. It feels like it seems like what happened is after Fred Petito retired, the new Miller North coach did not continue on with the tradition of the tape around the helmet. So they had a coach change for the first time like ever. In a very, very long time, and there's no more tape. This is what I'm being told in the Miller North helmets.
Okay. Well, I don't want to start a controversy here. Maybe there's good reason for it too, and there could be like a tape shortage for all I know of. Sort of like that helium thing hit us a few years back. So yeah. I don't know. But when I was a young lad, that's what you always saw on Friday nights, and I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I'll just throw my vote out there.
I like it. I'm with you. Very diplomatic. Nice job, BC. Talk to you later. Have a good weekend.
Yep. Thanks.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 247. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why they did this. I generally agree with what BC says. I like the tape. Put the tape on the helmets. It makes you special. But if the new coach wants to come in and take the tape off, then that's his right to do so. That's his right to do so.
Got to make it his own, right?
Yep. I won't speak any further on the matter. I feel as if I'm not qualified, and I don't want to start any controversies. I've already done enough of that this week. Tweeting about how winners win and things of that nature.
How dare you tweet the results of games, you monster.
All right, Josh.
Connor.
Time for the odd news. Coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Upon further review, the host point is good. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for What Makes Us and WhatMakesUs.com, brought to you by the Well-Being Partners. It is time to eliminate the stigmas that surround mental health. I've been going to a therapist for close to a decade now, and it has helped me in so many ways in my life, whether it is things at home, things at the office, or anything in between. You can find out more information today by visiting their website, WhatMakesUs.com, brought to you by the Well-Being Partners.
Individual results may vary. Prescription required. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
You've noticed your hair is thinning out. Or maybe you've noticed your game in the bedroom is getting a bit cold. Let's make this real simple. These are normal things that happen to lots of guys at some point. And through Hims, getting help couldn't be more, as we said, Simple. The process is 100% online, so you just have to answer a few simple questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. For your hair, that means access to a range of doctor-trusted treatments designed to help you regrow hair in as few as 3 to 6 months. And for your more intimate moments, that means access to treatments made to give you a boost in the bedroom, like Viagra, Cialis, and their generic counterparts, which can cost up to 95% less through Hims. If prescribed, treatment is shipped right to your door. A few clicks, and you're dealing with these things before they become a thing. So simple. Find your hair loss and ED solutions today at Hims.com. That's Hims.com. HIMS.com.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Hodson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Odd Son.
All right, coming up in the noon hour, we'll do a deep dive on why the Omaha World Herald would not put the Pope on their front page.
Finally, someone not afraid to talk about the Pope.
But first, the odd news, Josh.
Let's talk about the Pope.
The Pope.
The Pope.
You got a Pope story in here?
I got a Pope story in here.
Oh, good.
Because it needs to be covered constantly, or certain scribes will have a problem about it.
You never know.
And we want those scribes to like us. What did Pope do before he was crowned Pope?
He went to Villanova.
No, like immediately before.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like you're about to tell me.
I am. Pope Leo XIV played Wordle with his brother and watched the movie Conclave before becoming the first American to be voted leader of the Catholic Church.
So what do you mean before becoming the Pope? Like during Conclave? He watched the Conclave? He watched Conclave?
The brother that
Yes,
talked,
was interviewed on the news. Yeah.
Yes, noted that his brother, a clip that has gone less viral, noted his brother played the popular New York Times game as well as Words with Friends. It serves as something to keep his mind off of life in the real world. Before he entered the conclave, he hung out and the two of them watched Conclave so he would, quote, know how to behave, end quote. I would not take that as gospel.
No.
As that movie.
Because everything is information, and you take and you process the information however you want it, and you utilize the information however you'd like to.
He and his brother were both bewildered by the decision to make him the next pope. I didn't believe it. Rob didn't believe it. I should say Pope Leo didn't believe it at all.
Really?
Because there's not going to be an American pope. That's what we were told for so many years.
So he himself was shocked, surprised?
That's what this brother says.
Oh, do we trust this guy?
We trust him with his baseball fandom.
I still don't get it. Like, how do you... Why was it such a surprise to... like you said, I know what the history is.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a surprise. And even to the person who was selected? Like, how many people walked in that room thinking they could be Pope? And he wasn't one of them?
That's how humble he is. You have to humble yourself.
What about the other guy?
In front of the Lord.
What about the favorite?
I would imagine he had a fake humble, right? Like, oh no, it's not going to be me.
I don't know.
And then it turned out to not be him, and he was like, "What? It's not me."
Did our American Pope Leo XIV, did he want to be the Pope?
That's a great question. I don't know. Is he going to have to do like American interviews, like the Sunday news shows, like Meet the Press and?
I don't know. I think
CBS Sunday Morning.
I just frankly think like I feel. I mean, obviously he's an American. Like I feel more connected to the Pope than I've ever felt. Because he speaks English. He is capable of speaking English. He didn't speak English yesterday on the balcony.
He can speak ball too.
He could talk ball, things of that nature. He likes the White Sox. He knows about the AL Central. He's probably seen the Kansas City Royals play a baseball game.
That's right.
It's amazing.
Never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great stuff. We'll have more Pope for you later.
More Pope, because we got to talk about the Pope all the time, or the scribes will get mad at us. Stephen A. Smith appeared on Law and Order yesterday.
Yes, as a corpse.
This is not his first foray into acting. He had a long-running guest appearance on General Hospital, but now
that's when he shot that nurse.
That's right. He's been on Law and Order last night. He guest starred as a high-profile sports agent named Ted Hunter. Unfortunately, it is not a long appearance for Smith because his character is a murder victim early in the episode after berating one of his clients for having a large entourage and being a scrub in the vein of Kwame Brown. And although it was an incredibly brief cameo, Smith's character was a murder victim in the first, I think it's 3 minutes of the episode. But many are saying he did a great job. Did I watch it? No. Why would I?
No, why would I?
Why would I watch a Law and Order episode?
What do you mean?
With
Because
Stephen A. Smith.
That's what Stephen A. Smith said? Or that's what you said?
That's what I say. That's me editorializing. Why would I watch it?
I was going to say, like, if it was me and I'm Stephen A. Smith and they're asking me, did you watch the episode that you were in? I'd be like, yeah, because I'm in it.
If I was on an episode of Law and Order, Connor, you would never get me to shut up about it.
Yeah, I know. That's appropriate.
There have been 400. That seems low. 456 episodes of Law. That seems really low.
That's it?
456 episodes of Law and Order. If I was on one of them for 3 minutes, you would never hear the end of it, America.
Just even as an extra.
Yep.
Passing in the background. But especially a dead corpse. That'd be awesome.
And I got to berate somebody.
Yeah. Pretty good.
That would be great. We go to Jonesboro, Georgia for our final story. The Clayton County Jail went into lockdown after officers could not find a missing inmate who was convicted of murder.
Okay, that's not good.
You're going to want to have all your murderers in the right place. Turns out cops discovered about 12 hours later, they left the inmate at the courthouse holding cell. That's where he was. He was in a different place. Still a jail, but...
Glad they found him?
Yeah, right. For about 12 hours, Julian Brooks Deloche was missing from the county jail, where he was on loan from the state prison due to a recent misdemeanor. Deloche, convicted of murder in 1984, was granted parole in 2010. I'm going to go ahead and question that decision. Clayton County Sheriff revealed that the jail went on lockdown as officers searched for him, but the next morning they realized, he's at the holding cell at the other place.
Of course.
At the courthouse. There was a mix-up as who was going to take the inmate back to prison, and ultimately no one did it. Apparently there were two people. Oh, I thought Joe had it. Oh, I thought Jim had it. Well, neither of you did it.
That sounds like a very familiar workplace conundrum, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
For everybody.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you didn't do that? Well, it never got done. Nobody did it.
Yep.
Well, miscommunication. It happens sometimes.
It does.
I wish that we could say, or that anybody could say that they're above it, but they're not. Even the courts and the jails.
The courts and the jails.
That's why we cancel courts on this show.
Platcat on YouTube. Prison guards equals 4 and out the door, guys.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Once I check you out, I'm not thinking about it anymore.
That's right.
That's like me and what I do with my job.
Incredibly. Listen to Connor all weekend long as he calls baseball on his days off on 1180 The Zone.
That's right. And doesn't spend time with my beautiful daughter.
That's right. Your daughter is
and
beautiful.
Wife.
Your wife is also beautiful, but...
Thank you. Not in a weird way.
Right.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you for knowing what I meant when I said that.
Thank you for saying that. Steve Sipple will join us at the bottom of the noon hour. We'll ask him about newspapers and things of that nature. We'll also give away Creighton Baseball tickets. We'll do that after that interview. Plenty to get to. The Pope, Cubs propaganda, and much more coming up on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, interviews, and life-changing commentary with a smile on his face. Because he wears those ticklish underpants.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, noon hour, the Connor Happer Show here on a Friday on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. We at 1620 The Zone want to send you to Las Vegas. I want to send myself to Las Vegas, but we want to send you to Las Vegas. We're going to
send you for a change.
To see country superstar Kenny Chesney, June 14th at the Sphere. And you could win. All you have to do is enter at 1620thezone.com right now and be 21 years or older. We got your tickets to the show. We got your airplane. And we got your stay in the Luxor.
You're going to love it. Once in a lifetime opportunity, I'd say.
1620thezone.com. And we had some folks who qualified from yesterday. Congrats to Jason, Nicholas, and Sean. For our show, it specifically says Nicholas.
That's right.
Nicholas, Mr. Nicholas A. Nick A.
Nick A.
Yeah. That was our winner, our qualifier from yesterday. Josh, have you seen the Omaha World Herald today?
I've seen its coverage of farmers, and I love farmers. Imagine not loving farmers.
There's much conversation about this. Is the Pope being covered enough? Is the Pope being covered too much? Is there Pope
Pope fatigue?
Or are there lies being told about the Pope?
Lies about our Pope?
So it was a shock to everybody when we have an American Pope. Out of the conclave and out of the white smoke appeared an American Pope.
They said it would never happen.
It has never happened. That's almost 300 popes and over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And we've never had an American Pope, which makes partial sense because America has only existed for about 250 years now. But even in the last 250 years, we still haven't had an American Pope. So we got one yesterday, and it turned out that he was from Chicago. And immediately people began to speculate. Well, I wonder if he's a Bears fan. Well, I wonder if he's a Cubs fan. I wonder if he likes Villanova basketball because he went to Villanova. I wonder if he knows about the existence of Creighton basketball. And there are things that were being reported out there. And one of the initial reports that I think we mentioned on the air was that the Pope was a Cubs fan. This was talked about quite a bit yesterday and was largely accepted within the sports community. These are the circles that we go in, right? And even to the point where on the Cubs marquee yesterday, you saw this. Hey, Chicago.
Whoa.
He's a Cubs fan.
I did not know this.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Well, WGN talked to the Pope's brother, found him.
What an American thing to do.
He lives in Chicago. So let's have a chat and let's figure out what we're all doing here and let's put together or take apart some of these rumors that are out there about the Pope. Here we are.
The thing about the Cubs and White Sox.
Yeah, he was never ever a Cubs fan, so I don't know where that came from. He was always a Sox fan. Our mother was a Cubs fan. I don't know, maybe that clued in there. And our dad was a Cardinals fan, so I don't know where that all came from. And all the aunts, our mom's family was from North Side, so that's why they were Cubs fans.
But he rooted for the White Sox.
That's right. But where it came from, I don't know, because he would have been the only one.
House divided at the Pope's house.
Yeah, it's
Cubs,
very
Cardinals?
Cubs, Cardinals. I don't know what's going on over there.
And then he's like, bleep you both. I'm a White Sox fan.
You've talked about this before, Josh. Sometimes this is how it goes, right? You root for your team to spite another member of your family. That has happened. I've heard that story many, many times before. Maybe that happened with the Pope, little contrarian Pope that we had, He became a White Sox fan. I'm sorry if you couldn't hear that. that was the Pope's brother. It was very quiet.
Very low audio.
I didn't realize that. That was the Pope's brother saying he's not sure where the Cubs narrative came from. He's always been a White Sox fan. And then I saw a picture floating around the internet yesterday as this idea began to take shape. And he's been to many White Sox games. There is proof of him being a White Sox fan, wearing White Sox gear at the 2005 World Series, which is the last great moment for the Chicago White Sox, I think, unless you include Mark Burley's no-hitters or the Dwayne Wise catch. That was all the same, right? Mm-hmm. So that's all they got. And the Pope, the current Pope, was there. And he was never a Cubs fan at all.
Where could such a narrative stem from?
I have an idea.
Okay.
I have an idea, Josh. I call this Cubs fan entitlement.
Cubs fan entitlement.
Cubs fan entitlement. Do you remember the rant that Mike Leach went on several years ago about the Cubs and how, nobody else refers to their team. When you talk to a Cubs fan, and they might not know anything about sports at all, but they know that they're a Cubs fan, and they say my Cubbies and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. Mike Leach went on this whole great rant before he passed away. And I identified with all of it because we know we're in the Midwest. We know a lot of Cubs fans, and they kind of just, the lovable losers, they really steer into that entire thing. But when it comes to Chicago, they think they own Chicago. They think they run Chicago.
How could you not be a Cubs fan?
They're
so lovable.
The only reason you wouldn't be a Cubs fan is because there was no room for you and you were not allowed to jump on the bandwagon. So you had to be a White Sox fan or something like that. And here we are. The world's Pope is from Chicago and a Chicago White Sox fan. Let it be known, Josh. Shout it from the Vatican, from the Sistine Chapel, the whole thing. The Pope is a White Sox fan and understands Villanova basketball and might have been aware of the things that were happening to his team on a December night the February night in 2014.
3.
Better get a timeout, Jay Wright. That's what I bet the Pope was probably yelling it from his seat. He was there at Wells Fargo Arena saying,
"You gotta take a timeout.
You better get a timeout, Jay Wright." He and Gus Johnson and Bill Raftery were all saying the exact same thing. It's very interesting how that went yesterday. There was definitely a sports angle to the whole popedom, and like we said yesterday, it's really the first time in the TikTok era and the internet. The memes were all over there. Yes, all over the place yesterday.
I heard on Sportsmanlike Conduct.
There was so many memes. Sometimes people choose to just talk in memes and things like that.
I think you're onto something with this because when a Cubs fan hears that someone is from Chicago and a White Sox fan, you would think that you just kicked their dog or something like, oh, how could you be a White Sox fan?
Yeah, nobody asks follow-ups when you're a Cubs fan.
Right.
You meet a guy from Chicago and they say they're a Cubs fan and they're like, oh, you're a Cubs fan. Okay. Sure. Cool. You're a White Sox fan. People are like, well, how'd that happen? How'd that happen?
How?
And because of that, I think the Cubs, and they've always been more of the, they've been the, I don't know. Even though they would argue for, several decades they were cursed. They've been the franchise that has found more luck in between. Mm-hmm. Their pockets are a little bit deeper, right? They're on the north side of town, and they have such great pride in their ballpark, and they have movies made about them and things like that.
Well, they're definitely the glamour franchise of the city.
It's a glamour franchise of the city. And so I thought it was the perfect example of all of this yesterday when Immediately upon everyone finding out that the Pope was from Chicago, they just assumed that he was a Cubs fan. And it turns out he was not a Cubs fan at all. Amazing. Mike writes in, I can't wait for my fandom to be questioned when I become the Pope. It's amazing. So I saw somebody do a tweet about this. It was either last night or earlier this morning. Like, think about what happens now. I promise we're not going to talk about the Pope for 20 straight minutes here, but
although some would like us to,
it intersects with sports. We'll like it or not. It intersects with sports. So, like, what happens now is people, as the stories get out, and the stories, who knows if they're real or not, you have to get the Pope on the record about all these things.
I'm sure we will.
But as the stories get talked about, you start to retrack and retrace the steps of his life, the places where he was, the places where he lived, the dorm at Villanova, and I'm talking about in America, because this is the first time this has ever happened for Americans. And all the places he lived in Chicago, he stayed at Chicago, and in Chicago, and the things that he rooted for, and the restaurants that he went to. There becomes this sort of retracing of the steps, and I can't wait to see, what that looks like in several years down the line, or because it's always going to be America's first Pope, and for a long time it'll be America's only Pope. Pope America.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting back-to-back popes here in America.
Now, that would be an upset.
It would.
That would be.
People
crazy.
are always like, "Oh, that Cardinal's from South. Oh, he could be the next Pope." I'm like, I don't know. They're going to go back-to-back Americans.
It would seem unlikely.
Yeah.
Just given our history with American popes so far.
Obviously, rooting for it.
Yeah,
it'd be very cool to have a Pope that was
Absolutely.
walking around South O.
To the phones we go on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Sorry about that, Brian. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hey, guys, it's actually Ryan, but how are you guys doing on Friday?
Josh, come on. It's Ryan. Hi, Ryan. We're good.
I love the conversation about assumption of sports teams with the Pope. I was thinking as I was listening to you guys, if the Pope was from Omaha, like the South O guy, and he's a basketball fan.
Oh, no.
Is the White Sox Cubbies thing kind of like, okay, would you assume he's a Creighton Blue Jays basketball fan, or would you assume that he's a Husker fan, and would the gasp be, oh my God, how could you think that he'd be a Husker fan for basketball? Would that happen?
That is an amazing question, Brian. Now we are, Brian, thank you for the call. Or Ryan, sorry. Now we are going to talk about this for several minutes.
Oh.
So the closest example we have to this is what? I know exactly what it is off the top of my head. The closest example we have to this, it might be blasphemous. It's not very popish at all. Terrence Crawford.
Oh, okay.
Terrence Crawford has worn Nebraska colors in the ring. He has worn Creighton colors in the ring. He has worn Creighton polos and Nebraska polos, and he's appeared at Creighton and Nebraska events. He is the world's most famous Jasker. Both take credit, right? Both fan bases say he's one of ours.
And nobody ever treats him the way they treat you.
No, they don't. No, and that's okay.
Which is kind of weird that the guy that could beat you up, you don't criticize for being a Jasker.
If we had a Jasker Pope, I don't know, Josh. I don't know.
I mean, people would criticize and they'd be like, how can you make a decision about, the morals and ethics that people should be living by? You can't even decide which in-state program you like.
I don't know. I think it would be much more Creighton versus Nebraska than that. It like the Creighton.
Like in the state of Nebraska, they'd be like, no, he's our Pope. No, he's our Pope.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, we're already like deep into is this a Big Ten Pope or a Big East Pope? And it's pretty clear that it's a Big East Pope.
Thank you. Yes, I think so too. The Big Ten footprint.
The Big Ten footprint is all of America.
Right. It's the whole thing.
Seattle to Piscataway.
I mean, it's been made very clear over the years that Chicago is not a Big Ten city. And
Chicago also a Big East city.
Chicago is also a Big East city. Yes.
More directly, some would say.
I
mean, I know DePaul doesn't have a large fan base, but they are.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
They're more in Chicago than Northwestern, yes?
DePaul?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I don't know. It's kind of negligible, I guess, at that point.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a J-Sker Pope, what would happen?
There would be no end to the argument.
Would it make the J-Sker conversation more annoying or less annoying? Would it finally bring an end to the J-Sker conversation?
I mean,
if the Pope said, I bless all the J-Skers, he comes back to Omaha and says, one more thing. I got one more thing. Blessed be to all the J-Skers. And what would people have to say at that point?
You'd have Kevin Kugler on the television broadcast of the basketball game every year going, well, the Pope's probably watching this somewhere and he's going to root for the winner. So you better play hard.
It'd be a good joke every time too.
And he'd have to apologize on Twitter after the game. Like, I'm sorry I said something you thought was blasphemous. I hate your team.
Cats Are Funny writes in on the text line. The Big East can't claim a Pope because it's barely a conference. Cheap ass fake conference. Okay. Thank you for your comment. Cats Are Funny. Venmo Chris writes in, what do you think the papal pizza conversations will be like? Chicago deep dish or New York? The people must know what the Lord has to say on this. Yeah, I think we're just getting into those conversations right now. We're getting very, very close to retracing the steps. Like I said, eventually it will come out. Hey, the rumor is that the Pope actually doesn't really care for deep dish pizza. He prefers New York style. Like
he likes a cracker crust.
Yeah, we're getting very, very close to that. Another phone call here from Jim on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Good afternoon, Jim. What's up?
Hi, Connor. I just made a point to probably at his age, he was probably a Big East fan of the first Big East, not the second one.
That's true. So, but it doesn't, you don't think it carries over?
He probably might have went to the Georgetown Villanova national championship game even.
That's true. But it still counts. It's still the Big East. It's the same conference technically.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's probably more Big East than Big Ten.
Okay.
But he might think of Creighton being in the Big East as like blasphemous or, I mean,
it's a Catholic school. He won't matter.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for the call. Yeah.
Hashtag not my Big
That's
East.
Good. That's a good point. It was the old school Big East.
Mm-hmm.
It was the real Big East, which is still the Big East. Same branding.
Yeah,
right?
Still counts. I mean,
it's some of the same teams, not all of the same teams. I tell you what, looking at that, like when I was at the Big East tournament this year, looking at like the history of the conference tournament, how many different teams have played in the Big East conference tournament is like the funniest thing of all time. It's amazing.
I got an email from John here.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
What would Jack Mitchell's take be to a J-Sker Pope?
Well, I think all the J-Sker haters would take a big fat L. I think Jack specifically understands where the J-Skers are coming from, though. I think he is understanding. I don't think he likes it, but I think he is understanding. I hear from some that are not understanding of what it. I don't get it. I don't understand how you could possibly do this. I don't think Jack is one of those people.
Okay.
I think Jack kind of understands it. So I'll give him a little credit.
Just asking you to meet him in the middle.
I'm giving a little credit on that one. Black Cat writes in.
Hi, Black Cat.
But the old school Big Ten did not include Nebraska. That's a good point. He's an old school Big Ten guy. If he's from Big Ten country, then he probably is out on the fact that Nebraska is in the Big Ten and they should go back to the Big 8.
some around here would love that.
I tell you what, if the Pope wanted to come in and just restack the deck on all the conferences, I would be happy if he did. I mean, we're getting committees from the president about what happens with sports now. Why not the Pope?
Why not the Pope?
Get him involved. Maybe he's able to save this.
Great idea.
It's very interesting. Let's see. Chris.
Hi, Chris.
I'm more Husker fan, but the Big East gets it says Popeyes, but I think he meant Pope, just on the strength of being the Catholic conference. Yes.
I would think so.
That helps. I think the situation quite immensely. All right, before we get to Sipple, I got but back to the original point. Can you believe the Cubs fans? Can you believe the Cubs fans?
I haven't seen a lot of retractions from Cubs fans. Not that they have to hold up to the standards of journalism, but they were very loud yesterday, and now nothing.
It's very interesting. They were proven wrong almost immediately, and then they were like, "Oh, didn't get away with that lie."
Homer Simpson back into the bushes.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, Sipple's going to join us in a couple minutes. I wanted to make you guys aware of this. So earlier in the week, we brought you a topic about how college baseball teams are canceling their midweek games for RPI purposes.
Cowardice.
And they're making up the most absurd excuses about why to not play these games. The lights went out. The bus broke down. Half our team is sick. We can't play. We have travel complications, whatever it might be. But the bubble-ish NCAA tournament teams, usually, high major Power 5 type of teams in baseball, are saying we shouldn't play these games because it can only hurt us. It'll hurt our RPI if we win, and it'll absolutely kill our RPI if we lose. Well, last night we have the most absurd. Actually, it wasn't last night. This was Tuesday night. The most absurd of all of the examples. This comes to us from Washington Baseball. The Huskies.
The Huskies
of the Big Ten Conference. Top of the 7th inning, an NAIA school by the name of Warner Pacific is they're picking up an extra game with Washington. Their season is over. They missed their conference tournament, the NAIA team, Warner Pacific.
They missed their imagine missing your conference tournament.
Couldn't be me. And then Washington said, all right, you want to come up? We need a game. We need to play a game. It happens. It happens across level all the time.
They're a bad NAI team.
The day before we played, Creighton played South Dakota State. They played Northwestern, Jalen Gramstad's old team.
Not the Big Ten.
No, not the Big Ten Northwestern College in Iowa. So it happens. They beat the crap out of them. For the record, it was 20-1. And then Creighton ruled them the next day. So Warner Pacific, an NAIA school, they took this extra game with Washington. And then all of a sudden they start playing, and it's the top of the 7th inning, and Warner Pacific finds themselves ahead. It's 5-4, Josh.
Hello.
They're about to beat Washington, or at least have a really good chance. They need 9 more outs in the game. Until mysteriously and inexplicably, inside Washington Stadium, the lights went out. And the game was banged.
Oh, no. How unfortunate.
And
what an odd set of circumstances and coincidence.
Now, I don't know what the rules are here on this. I assume there has to be some sort of a coach agreement or something like that. But, usually in a baseball game, it becomes official after what, 4.5 innings or 5 innings or something like that. And it doesn't matter if it gets banged after that. You just go back, you revert back to that. But apparently that was not the case here. And Washington was able to save itself by having a stadium light failure. And I just wonder if that sounds suspicious at all to you.
Oh, gosh, I guess I hadn't thought of it. Lights malfunction all the time, Connor.
I mean, these
things happen.
This is the king of all cowardice right here. Washington, by the way, I was looking at their RPI a little bit earlier. They are like an NCAA tournament bubble team. They are, so if they lose a game to a NAIA school, they're going to be in big trouble. 68. I wouldn't call them a bubble team, but they're in Creighton and Nebraska and hell, Iowa's range. Iowa canceled that game before the game against Illinois Chicago. Washington gets into the 7th, and they say, "Whoops, our lights went out. Sorry, we'll try again next time." Game with Warner Pacific suspended. I'm reading off their website right now. Washington's game against Warner Pacific on Monday night was suspended due to technical difficulties with stadium lights. A continuation of the game has not been scheduled at this time. Further updates regarding a completion of the game will be announced on GoHuskies.com. I'm going to go ahead and guess, Josh, that they are not going to complete that game.
Right. Unless we publicly shame them into doing so.
Nah, I don't think so. I think
so
you just eat it.
It's
at this
May
point.
9th.
It's too late.
Head down, keep walking.
Washington also earlier this season, although they are 15-9 in the Big Ten Conference, they took a loss to they had a 2-game series with a non-Division I team, Pacific Lutheran, and split that series. They lost one of those games and then won another one. So didn't want to take another non-Division I loss and straight up turned out the lights. Love to see it.
Incredible.
Steve Sipple. He's not a coward. He'll answer for his takes. He always does.
That's right. He does.
Next on 1620 The Zone.
Steve Sipple,
Hut, hey!
The conversation gets even more uncomfortable, okay?
Omaha!
Steve Sipple on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right. Happy to be joined on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Steve Sipple from Husker Online here on this Friday. Sipple, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm just going to start off with something awkward, but it's fine. Apologies to Gary Sharp and his show and Matt. I missed their appearance Thursday. I don't know if you guys, I think you're all one team there. So
We are.
I missed it, and I wasn't intentional. Something came up. Yeah. So I mean it. I love those guys. And I don't want them to feel like I intentionally blew them off. That's not what happened.
We'll send them your best.
Hopefully they're listening to your show.
Probably. It's Friday. They're probably just, I'd be tuned out if I were them.
Tuned out? You tune out on Friday?
I'd say if there is, the ability to close the book on a Friday, I'm out. But, sometimes there's not.
Often there's not.
Yeah, often there's not. You're right. I was wondering, Sipple, I promise you that I do not have a fake Sipple in the can today. I'm just genuinely asking you this. I'm asking you this question. Don't be afraid. What was a sure sign for you that you were becoming an old man? Have you ever had an old man injury or anything like that?
I don't know. I don't even know where to start. You could do 2 hours on this subject.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Sure signs. Okay, I can give you a couple.
Okay.
To get out of my truck, I have to lean against a certain part of the entry, and kind of sort of ease myself out. There's a realization that if I wanted to get a Corvette that sits low, I couldn't even do it. It would be impractical just because I can't get up and down. I can't go that low and then get out. I have to have a truck now that's a certain size because just back and shoulder. I just various ailments, but I lean hard. It's hard to get in and out of the truck. Everybody's going to say bed too. All old dudes have that problem getting in and out of bed, especially out. That's got to be sort of planned the way you do it. So those are things.
That's good.
A lot of the injuries are just sports related, wear and tear stuff. There's also sort of mindset signs that set in. They're just sure signs that you're old. Just like when you go to a restaurant, proximity to a bathroom is sometimes more important.
Interesting.
Yeah, you kind of pay attention to that sort of stuff. There's a lot of stuff you pay attention to that you never would have 20 years ago.
Wow, that's really good. I assume that's a good thing. The experience, of going through. The reason I asked, by the way, is because last night I swang a softball bat at a slow pitch softball game, and my oblique, I think, is obliterated. It's over.
Yep. See, how old are you?
I'm only 32, Sipple.
Ooh,
it's early.
Seems early for stuff like that to be happening.
Yeah, early to be breaking down. That's for sure. I don't know. I guess I'm going to try and rehab this one and get back out there before I call it a career.
What did you do to your oblique?
There is no diagnosis. All I know is that if I move the wrong way, it feels like someone's stabbing me in the kidney.
Oh, that sucks.
Don't make me laugh. You're killing me right now.
I'm sorry.
I can't imagine it. I guess I just have to rest or continue to not do anything. But I really like the one night a week when I play slow pitch softball, but I don't know. I think I'll for a little while.
Don't do what I do, which is take an ungodly amount of Advil.
Oh, I'm guzzling ibuprofen. I have a whole bottle on my desk.
One time we were in Chicago. I was with young Parker, who's I agree guard. You know my regard for Parker.
Rest in peace. Yes.
Parker's still alive.
Well, kind of.
He's still. He's just had a child. But Parker's like your age, or a little older, probably.
I actually think Parker's a year younger than me.
So he had a back problem when we were in Chicago one time. It happened in the Northwestern press box, and then we stayed in Chicago at a hotel. And I didn't know you could do this until Parker, who I hold in high regard, did this. He sent me down to get some ibuprofen he didn't want to do it because his back was sore. He sent me down to get some Advil, and I came back up. I said, "How many do you need?" And he said, 10. Wait, you take? Yeah, you can take as many as you want.
Yeah, kind of to a certain. Well, we don't want to tell people to just load up on that, but yeah, you'll generally be okay. I think.
10.
I wouldn't suggest 10 for the record. I would not suggest 10.
I'm not. I don't want to miss. I don't know. We're doing sports radio and stuff happens, but I was struck by it. I will tell you that.
I have definitely been around. I mean, baseball players, there's elbow and shoulder pain all the time. And, I think everybody had a bottle of ibuprofen in their bag and just, pulled the cap off and just, shot it back like it was a shot of whiskey or something like that at some point.
Yeah, I find myself doing that more and more.
Yeah, it happens. Why not? Hoiberg writes in, that's the quick route to kidney failure. Yes.
I've had various. Oh, I mean, there's that I hear that, then I'll hear the other side. So
makes you feel better in the moment, right?
Well, no, I mean, but I'm not convinced there's long-term damage.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha.
And I mean, for me at this point, like, what does even long-term damage mean? I mean, I'm damaged, and I don't have that much longer.
You're not. No, you're not that old, Sipple. Come on.
I'm 58.
That's not even that old. You're not even 60.
I'm staring at it.
Yeah, it's not that far away, but that doesn't mean you're old either when you get to 60. Some people would call that the prime of their lives.
Oh, God, I wouldn't. The prime of my life. Good God.
It's where you get to kick back and enjoy the fruits of all your hard work over the last 60 years.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing a lot of kicking back these days.
Speaking of that, what are you up to right now? What are you writing about? What are you cooking for the weekend?
Just got done doing a video with Sean Callahan.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know exactly which way I'm going to go. I want to write about Dylan. There was a column that was written by an On3 colleague at the national level named Ari Wasserman earlier this week about how 2025 in college football is the year of the quarterback. And he went through a lot of them, and Dylan Raiola wasn't one of them. And just kind of Dylan kind of flies under the radar nationally, which is probably apt. And I think I might just write that. I just think he's poised. I think he's poised to I don't want to say explode on the scene, but become a major factor. I'm leaning towards writing something like that. Like the two young guns that he mentioned were DJ Lagway of Florida and Lenora Sellers of South Carolina. I just don't think those guys are that far ahead of Dylan.
Yeah.
He categorized the quarterbacks, and one section was young guns. And I thought, maybe you could slip Dylan into that. Just put 3 in there instead of 2. But maybe Dylan, the fact that Dylan only had 4 touchdown passes over the final. I think he had 4 touchdown passes over the final 8 games, which is, for a quarterback that doesn't run much, that's not probably enough. So I get it. I understand. But I also think that Dylan has elite talent, and I think you're going to start to see it much more this year.
I love the conversation because, I mean, frankly, like Nebraska doesn't have very many blue chippers on their roster, but they do at the most important position, right? And recruiting rankings they don't mean everything, but, it's an indicator of talent level and what the upward trajectory is. How much is that worth in your mind where now you could start to position it where they have to put a lot on his back, this year and beyond if Nebraska wants to win football games.
Well, but you know what? That's part of the column is I don't think you have to put as much on his back this year because the offensive line, I think, is going to be pretty good. They protect well. And I think they'll run the ball pretty well. They didn't run it very well enough last year. 98th in the country isn't well enough. And I think they'll be better that way, but I think they'll be a good protecting line. And I think they did a good job of I think we all agree. I shouldn't say that, but I think most people would agree they fortified the receiver room at a pretty high level. And I think that's where you'll see the protection and the receiver room, as long as they run the ball, I mean, just enough to keep people honest. I don't think this is going to be a great rushing team. I hope I'm wrong. But I think it could be a very strong passing offense, and the protection's a big reason for that. But they also have, I think they did, like I said, they have some good receivers, 4 or 5 really good receivers, in my opinion.
So if they have a dude at quarterback,
they do.
Where else do they have a dude? Like, where else would you be willing to say Nebraska has a dude?
On offense, I'd say the center will be a dude.
Oh.
I'd say the left tackle, the right guard. I think the right tackle has potential to be that. I think the offensive line, as I said, generally speaking, is going to be good. I think that Dane Key is a proven dude at a high level in a high level conference. I think Isaiah Hunter has such a high degree of want to and talent, and he's proven he has 40 catches at Cal. I don't think he'll be any worse than he was at Cal. He could be a lot better. I think Ja'Cory Barney might be a lot better than we saw, and he had 55 catches. I think you're going to really see Ja'Cory Barney, by the way, as the side show up on special teams as a punt returner. I think Heinrich. I think Heinrich is very much in the plan. I mean, I think he can really be hurt. It can really hurt defenses. I think he can be very tough to deal with matchup wise. He's a tough matchup. I mean, it's not. I don't want to overthink that. I know that I know that he's playing a new position, and there has to be some quick development, especially at the line of scrimmage. But as a receiver, I just think he's a no-brainer. He's so athletic, and he's again 1-2 is really high, and it's going to be hard to match up with him for a lot of guys.
By the way, we got before we let you go, we got a text from Greg in Myrtle Beach, who I know you know.
Oh my God, big friend of mine.
Oh yeah, he texts the show all the time. He says, "Tell Sip he'll need cases of Advil to tolerate middle school rules crap coaching."
Greg, where have I not heard? I haven't heard from Greg lately. So
that's his thing. He calls Matt Rule middle school rule.
Well, I mean, Greg is an astute college sports observer. So
it's pretty catchy. I'll give him that too.
Well, Greg is entertaining.
Yes, he is. He's pretty good. All right, Sipple. Well, enjoy your weekend. Don't get injured doing mundane things.
Don't you get injured doing mundane things.
I know.
Keep me abreast, no pun intended, of your oblique problem.
Nice. See you later.
See you later.
Steve Sipple from HuskerOnline.com.
Many people,
it's very caring,
reaching out to you to
tell I don't take that much ibuprofen. Okay,
not go over the recommended dosage.
I took 3 in the morning. I took 3 last night.
Okay.
There's no chance I hit 12 in a day.
Okay.
And if I ever hit 12 in a day, which I don't think has ever happened, maybe the most I've ever hit in a day is like 8. And that is once in a blue moon. I'm not taking too much ibuprofen.
Good. The audience is worried about you.
Josh, let's take a break. But I have a cue to call.
A cue?
A cue to call. Call right now, 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Coming up next, we have a little bit of trivia for you. Upon your request, upon the listener's request,
you asked for this.
We have dug up some Creighton baseball tickets for Sunday, 2 pair. I have questions that you'll have to answer, so I need you to get in line. 402-951-1620. You're going to have to answer a question, and then we'll get you tickets to Sunday's game, Creighton's home finale, Ed Servais' last home game against Xavier. So line up, 402-951-1620. We'll ask you some questions on the other side on 1620 The Zone.
You made me do this. This is on you, producer Josh. The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Wow, am I hearing this right, Josh? Pat McAfee had to sit in traffic because of Dylan Raiola?
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
Only got.
Does he usually not hit traffic? Does he usually get out of there early?
I would think he would get out of there late. He has to be on the show.
It's very confusing.
Till the very end.
Interesting. All right, so one other thing here before we get to this trivia.
Okay.
Dale has a flurry of comments for us.
Oh, hi, Dale.
Here's the thing about follow along. Here's the thing about J-Sker. Didn't exist as a thing until Creighton was good. Never heard about this term when we were on the road against Southern Illinois. Only now that they're in the Big East and win, and only Nebraska fans care. It's a one-way issue. Where were the people mad about J-Skers in 2007? So here's my.
Oh, okay, that's a little different than I thought of it during the break. Okay.
Here is my perspective. I don't know why we have to talk about this every day, but
every day, it's exhausting.
My perspective is this has been a thing ever since I've been conscious of sports around here, which is, I don't know, basically like the turn of the century, Y2K, Josh. And I can remember the term going.
I remember Y2K,
and I can remember the term going back to, when I was in high school, which was right around there, 2007, probably. But it does only it matters a lot to Husker fans. It matters a little bit to Creighton fans. Like I hear from a lot of people who are like, "Hey, look, we're Creighton fans and we're Creighton fans only, and we don't need any of that." Like we don't need you to be like I don't love it how you're a Husker fan in the falls on Saturdays. I'm like, oh, okay, I understand it. It's maybe we're dealing with three different kinds of people here. Charles says planes fell out of the sky during Y2K.
I was told that was going to happen, yes, so I assumed it did happen.
The guy from Righteous Gemstones tried to sell a bunch of buckets, survival buckets, to people during Y2K. Okay.
What a great show. You making your way through it?
I am. I have arrived at season 4. I just finished season 3 last night.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to season 4 because season 3 kind of lost me a little bit. Kind of a lot going on.
It'll get you back.
Yeah. Good. All right. So here's the deal. You guys asked for these tickets early in the week. We found them. And people
a lot of strings.
The lines lit up when I said, call right now. I got Creighton tickets. And then when I said you have to work for it and you have to answer trivia questions, everybody dropped off. I'm watching you. I know what's going on. So that's fine. I'll play your game. But now you're going to have to listen to Josh do the trivia that you were supposed to do, and your ears are going to bleed. This is your fault, listeners.
This is your fault. What is about to happen?
This is on you.
And let me assure you, because you might be thinking in your car, oh, this is a well-planned out show. This is a bit that they're about to do where Josh sounds like an idiot. I assure you, I'm not doing a bit. I'm just an idiot.
We'll see how you would have done. We'll see if you would have got any tickets out of this. Don't worry, we're going to give away your tickets, and you're not going to have to earn them because that's
the way it is in America.
You guys win.
Handouts over everything.
You guys win, but you lose for the next 3 minutes because Josh is going to answer these questions. All right, so first caller comes in. Hello, caller. It's John. I like your shirt today, John. Well done.
Thanks. I'm glad you can see it over the phone.
Name 3 players who played under Ed Servais who ended up playing in the major leagues. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm asking you to name 3.
Pat Venditti.
1.
Nailed it. All right. 1 for 1. Let's call it a day, boys.
Yep. You got this.
Do I though?
You got this. There's one.
Oh, Nicky Lopez.
Yes. The other one that I think that you could probably get. Well, there are 2 others that are currently in the major leagues. Maybe you could get those. There's another one who is currently in Omaha, just not at Creighton, coaching baseball.
I I don't know if this is any of the ones you alluded to. Darren Ruff.
Darren Ruff, that's the one. Ding, 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 ding. Tickets for Josh.
All right. I'd also like to just say Anthony Benboom.
Anthony
because
Benboom, Reaver.
Fun name to say.
Ty Block, Isaac Collins, Mike Gerber, Nicky Lopez, Alan Roden, Darren Ruff, Elliot Soto, Pat Vendetti. Those were the possible answers on that one. Ed Servais has taken Creighton to 5 regionals so far, I might add. 5 regionals.
Sure.
Name one of the sites of those regionals. One of the sites. The site, the whatever regional.
Sure. Tallahassee.
No. Try again.
Miami.
No. Try again. There's only been 4 different sites. 5 times 4 sites.
College Station.
No. These are interesting guesses and probably halfway decent ones.
Okay.
Yeah. There's only one SEC location in here. Remember, they're regional. Josh. Regional.
I don't know what that means.
What's in the region? Who's an SEC team in the region that's always good?
They're all always good now.
What's the most regional SEC team there is that's not named Missouri, obviously?
Oh, okay. I was going to say Missouri.
It's not Missouri. Just a little further down. Arkansas.
Little Rock.
You got it. Perfect. Good job. You could have also said Lincoln. It's not Little Rock. It's Fayetteville. But you could have also said Lincoln. They went to the Lincoln Regional. At the Corvallis Regional twice, and the Los Angeles Regional in 2012.
LA.
Creighton had 6 players on this year's roster from Omaha area high schools. Name one.
Ron Colley.
No, name one person.
Oh.
And, well, actually, you know what? I'll take either. Name a person or a high school. Ron Colley's incorrect.
Damn it. Who's that guy that you talked to on the Jays pod that one time where I had to host Creighton Athletic Hour? I hear his name all the time, and I'm like, that's the guy. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
You could have said Nolan Sailors from Ralston. You could have said Connor Capisi from Gross. You could have said Nick Ventiker from Millard West. You could have said Shea Went from Blair. You could have said Jack Terosian from Concordia. You could have said Robert O'Malley from Creighton Prep.
But neither of those were the guys I was thinking of.
That Josh only would have won tickets once, it appears.
That's better than I thought, though.
All right, now you can call 402-951-1620. I got 2 pairs of tickets to the Sunday game. I need people to be at the ballpark this weekend. I need the big game feelings in my tum-tum.
Daddy did the work for you, so now it's...
Yeah,
now
Josh
you can
had to
call.
look like an idiot, and now you can call.
Will McLean, that's the guy I always...
Will McLean, not from here. He's from New Hampshire.
Close.
951-1620. I got 2 pairs of tickets to the Sunday game, and we're going to give them away to the first 2 callers. Call.
First 2. Call now.
Call right now.
Why aren't you calling?
Bang, 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 bang. 951-1620. Can't wait to be out at the ballpark this weekend. And we'll be back for the 1 o'clock hour after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Hi, congratulations to our winners of the tickets. We had Eddie and Brett.
Eddie and Brett, that's right.
Let's go. We'll see you at the ballpark. We'll see you tonight and tomorrow night and Sunday afternoon for free, courtesy of Connor Happer and the Connor Happer Show and Josh Hudson.
Yeah, I guess I am a part of this. I'll be emailing them the tickets.
Did you ask them to tell you which station made you a winner? Tell which station made you a winner.
I did not.
And then they say 1620 the zone. Roll Jays, go baseball.
Roll Jays, go baseball. You're hearing it more and more.
You are. You're starting to hear this.
Yep.
You're going to hear it a lot more if Creighton wins the series this weekend.
Oh,
a lot
okay.
more. RDJ fan writes in,
Hi,
how long
RDJ.
will Hap be on the DL? Sports fans want to know. The DL from slow pitch softball, undetermined. We're gonna evaluate over the next couple days. The DL from anything else in my life, 0 days.
Okay.
It will not require a DL stint.
Good.
I will just be grunting and making noises at things a lot more.
Well, you're about that age where it's more acceptable.
I already do grunt and make noises.
Mhm.
This one, the pain will be sharper, though. It'll be, a couple more of those. I felt bad. I got home. We played late last night. I got home and I went to take off my socks and my wife was asleep already. And I go, and she kind of woke up in a daze like, what is he okay? Is he being stabbed? But it was just me trying to take my sock off.
Also, gentlemen, it is IL now. Get with the times.
Ah, yes. Yes. We don't talk about D anymore.
Right.
No, can't do that. Josh, you said you had something for this earlier. I'm excited to see what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Sources from Yahoo Sports, Ross Dellinger, who's covering courts and a variety of things these days.
Pete said the same thing on the McAfee show today,
Mr.
too.
Tweets himself is tweeting about interesting how all these newsbreakers get it all at the same time. Sources, SEC Big Ten building momentum to further expand college football playoff to 14 or 16 teams. And according to Ross last night on X, it maybe is leaning a little bit more toward 16. He writes, within the SEC and the Big Ten, momentum is building to further expand the playoff to 14 or 16 teams, assign multiple automatic qualifiers per league, as many as 4 each for themselves, and finalize a scheduling arrangement together that may fetch millions in additional television revenue from partners, sources told Yahoo Sports. The playoff format would clear the way for SEC administrators to finally make the long-discussed move to play 9 regular season conference games and would trigger perhaps all 4 power leagues to overhaul their conference championship weekends. These ideas and concepts, previously reported by Yahoo Sports as possibilities, are now serious agenda items within the highest governing bodies of the SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, and ACC. The 11 members of the College Football Playoff Management Committee, the 10 FBS conference commissioners, and Notre Dame's athletic director were contacted for this story, many of them confirming the existence of these potential ideas, but declining to comment specifically on the matter. Would you look at this? Can you believe it? It's all happening. I can't explain how much worse this makes college football, but well, I suppose I can, and I guess we're going to spend the next 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes doing so. So what we're having here, this is, of course, on the heels of the SEC saying, "Oh, maybe we could go to 9. That would be a good idea." So think about it. In a world where the Big Ten has 9 conference games, the SEC has 9 conference games, and the SEC and the Big Ten are banding together for a scheduling alliance. Therefore, We have a 10th game that's already basically penciled in as a power game. This is all at the direction of the television networks, who would very much appreciate putting good games on TV. And don't get me wrong, Josh, I love good games on TV. I do. I truly do. But if you're talking about automatic qualifiers for the college football playoff, all that matters is how you perform within the league. So, yes, we're going to see 3 lost teams in the playoff, 4 lost teams in the playoff, whatever it might be. But all that matters is you get top 4 in your league. And if there's 16 teams, there are going to be, the proposal is that there is 2 additional wild card spots. There is in the 14 team format, it's the 13th spot is for Notre Dame and the 14th spot is for the G5, right? After the 4-4-2-2-2-1-1 situation. Remember the 4-2-2-1? Pay attention, everybody.
Couldn't forget.
4-4-2-2-1-2-2-2-1-1, whatever. So I guess there is a little bit of wiggle room for the wild card there, but this all makes perfect sense. This is the NFL. Welcome to the NFL, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, just in case you were wondering when that was going to happen, it has arrived. What do you got, Josh?
I understand that because of the nature of our job, we have to cover every little wrinkle within the college football playoff, and anytime the college football decides it might maybe possibly think about making a decision, we have to cover it because that's the nature of our jobs. I understand that.
Yeah.
You got to bleep or get off the pot with this expansion thing, man. Do it or don't.
Well,
you've beaten me down to the point where I don't care. I don't think it's ruining college football
That's
anymore.
a good point.
I'm going to watch it regardless of how many teams are in it or who's in it or whatever. Just make a decision and go. We don't have to talk for 3 years about, well, maybe this would be better if we had 12 or 14
It's all
or
politicking.
16. Yeah,
it's just all politicking.
Just bleep and do it.
But that's what it is. And the Big Ten and the SEC are trying to convince you that they have all the power without telling you that they have all the power and that they're still here for the little guys and all the, like, it's just politicking.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And so when you hear this year over year over year, it's first an idea that gets floated, and then, oh, wow, there's some real steam for this. People kind of like this idea. And now it's an official agenda item, right? And remember, the playoff contract comes up after after this season. And there will be a new contract for 2026. And that was always when the changes were going to be sort of enacted, and they have to all get behind one thing. Well, the more and more you talk about it and the more it gets out there and the more it gets discussed, the more it becomes a mainstay in the conversation. But at no point anybody will ask anymore, hey, is this normal? Are we making changes for good, or are we making changes for evil?
I don't care about that anymore.
You're over it. I think a lot of people are over it. And don't get me wrong, when the football games come up in the fall, it's still about the football games, and we still get the good football games, and that's great. But over a long period of time, it not only changes the sport dramatically, it fundamentally is an upheaval of what college football has sort of always been about.
I completely agree. It's a soulless shell of itself. It is a
But you don't
husk
care
of what-
anymore.
No, I don't care. Should I care a little more? Yeah, probably. But like,
You're right.
I don't have time to care.
You know what, Josh? Okay. There's no stopping this train.
Yeah.
It's coming through.
I've made my peace with it.
Okay.
Now, if Nebraska could get into this dang thing, then I think a lot more people would be like,
have
I don't
takes on it.
I don't care what the rules are. Yeah, get them in.
You could maybe have some takes about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me give you another example of committees and floating things out there over a long, long period of time.
Float it.
Henry. Float it. The Pope is a Cubs fan. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Pete Crow Armstrong's mom. This is from Chris Vanini an hour ago.
Ah, yes.
NCAA men's basketball committee says there are positive conversations about moving from halves to quarters, like the NBA and women's basketball. Recommends that the Division I conferences form a working group to gather feedback on it. So we're in the stage of this one.
Well put.
We're in the stage. Benini follows up and says the main benefit of moving to quarters is that it limits the foul bonus period. So a team isn't in the bonus with 10 plus minutes left in a half, for example. It helps the flow of the game. I could offer this as an option. Don't foul as much.
Have you thought about not fouling?
Creighton did it.
Uh-huh.
Why
Better
don't they
than anyone had ever done it in the history of the sport.
That's actually
right?
true. Yeah. Yes. Honk, honk, indeed, Jeff.
Honk, honk.
That is an option for teams, but for some teams, it's just not. It's just not an option.
St. John's looking at you.
Yep. Especially in the NCAA tournament and especially in games that matter. So this is another example of like, what an idea. Why don't we form a group and we'll get some feedback on this. And next thing you know, everybody will be so burnt out by the conversation, like Josh is with the playoff deal, that it won't even matter if it goes into effect or not anymore. And it won't even be weird because we've been talking about it for 100 years. Put this in the Dak Prescott category. You know, we talked about.
I don't care about his contract.
I don't either. We talked about it for 40 years, though.
Is he good? Is he not good? I don't know.
It doesn't matter anymore. So Dak, didn't he actually get a contract last summer, and then he got hurt or something like whatever it was?
He's gotten 2 contracts since we've started the whole "is Dak Prescott worth a big contract?"
I didn't even notice because all we do is talk about whether he deserves it or not. It's stupid.
Not a bad comp.
So put all
Why
that
do we talk about this all the time
in that category? And so, yeah.
As someone who watches women's basketball and men's basketball from a very good front row table seat, what do you think of both? What do you think of this idea?
I am. Oh, you want to know my stance, Josh?
Yeah. What is your? I'm not tired of this conversation yet. So
I like the quarters. I like how it works. I don't think it makes a big enough difference for me to care about it that much.
Okay.
I don't think it dramatically improves the flow of the basketball game enough for us to be like, we
gotta do this.
We have to do it. So I am not passionate about it one way or the other. I know some people are. I think it's odd that they're different, that men's and women's college basketball is different.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, I guess I would say, well, why not move it to quarters?
It's the only form of basketball that is halves, yes?
It's right. Everything else,
high
NBA,
school, NBA.
Yeah.
What does Olympic basketball do? They do quarters, right? Yeah.
Yep. So it's all quarters except for men's college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that part is weird. I still can't tell you that that's enough for me to be like, oh, you have to change it. I don't. It doesn't bother me. I know it bothers some.
It does.
It does not bother Connor Happer.
I don't.
And I get to see a lot of both.
You do. That's why I asked you, because I don't have an opinion.
You don't either?
If this was Wednesday at noon, I would have nothing to offer everyone. I don't
have an opinion. That's the next game.
That's just pretty much I don't care.
We just bring up a bunch of topics and say, I don't have an opinion on this.
That's I don't care on unsportsmanlike conduct, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Charles, IDHAO. I don't have an opinion.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the YouTube comments.
YouTube.
Here's Ron.
Hi, Ron.
Ron says, sorry. Thank you for apologizing, Ron. Everyone is going to be at Haymarket Park this weekend and not at that cookie cutter baseball diamond in downtown Omaha. Let's compare attendance numbers on Monday. Ron, first of all, I'd like to say this. There's a lot of people in this state.
Okay.
So, it's not like they're going to be one place or the other.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here. Maybe not comparatively to your favorite states or whatever, but there's a lot of people, enough to fill up a 6,000 seat ballpark in Lincoln and enough to fill up a 25,000 seat ballpark in Omaha, even though they won't do that.
They will not.
They will not do that.
And that's okay.
I don't know what the attendance numbers are trending toward this weekend. I would imagine better than most for Creighton.
I would say both schools are going to get a bump.
Yes.
Got great weather, good opponent or momentum. Like Creighton has.
They need it. They both need it.
Yeah.
Badly. They both need it desperately.
It's a lot of butts.
That's a good. It's a good conversation though.
Also,
if Nebraska gets an average of, let's say they got 5,800 on Monday or Tuesday, and I thought that was a pretty good crowd.
Yeah.
So maybe they could get 6 every game. Do they get 6 every game?
I think they should win the game, regardless of how many people.
No,
are
we're talking
in
about it.
attendance.
Oh, I know. The attendance matters to some, Josh.
Okay.
We compare it. We measure attendance polls, and that's what we're doing here.
Feels like we're measuring something else, but okay.
Mm-hmm. They could get 6 a game.
Yeah,
they could get 18 to 20,000 this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think Creighton could approach that conversation. Probably end up less.
I would say they would be less than Nebraska. Sunday might, whatever popping a number for them is.
Charles says 31,000 butts between the two. The Connor Happer Show. We do butt math. That's 31,000 potential butts.
Potential butts.
No chance you get to 31,000 butts a night.
Actual butts.
Yeah, like real turnstile butts. Scan ticket butts.
I miss a turnstile butt.
Turnstile butts have turned into scan butts.
Yeah.
At this point,
I don't like scanning butts.
No, I don't either. I'd rather them go through a turnstile.
Great take.
It's a lot easier that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, there will be some butts and some seats this weekend, or on some berms.
Berm butts.
They still count the berm butts.
They count just as much
at Haymarket Park. No berms at the Chuck Box.
Plenty of space to put your butt this weekend.
That's exactly right. A lot of seats for
I've
your
gone so long.
butt to go into. All right, we're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Great news for people who love TikToks.
Okay. That wouldn't be me, but
what am I about to say, Josh?
Oh God, I don't know. Harper Murray dropped a new one.
No.
Dylon dropped a new one.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if Dylon dropped a birthday TikTok today.
Yeah, it's my birthday turtleneck.
No.
What up?
This is regarding the Savannah Bananas.
They're on ESPN this weekend.
Are they really?
It is not on What to Watch this weekend.
Thank you, Josh.
I got you.
The Savannah Bananas are coming to Kansas City in
it's close.
A mere 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Now, was this just announced, or did I just see it for the first time? They must have known about this for a while, right?
You would not do it that close to show, right?
I don't think so. But tickets are available for the Savannah Bananas coming to the K for 2 shows, games, I suppose.
No, you're right the first time.
May 23rd and May 24th. That is 2 weeks from today and 2 weeks from tomorrow. So which will there be more children wanting to go to? If you're a child, do a poll question that only children can vote in, Josh. Which would you rather go to, the Savannah Bananas game or the Nebraska-Cincinnati opener in late August? Can you do that? Can you do only children can vote on this? Probably it's probably in a bad entrapment thing there. No good.
They don't let you just talk to kids.
Can't wait to see what comes out of that. Percentage chance that Patrick Mahomes shows up 100.
I would think so. Where's this game at?
Kauffman Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% chance.
Okay. Travis Kelce.
Less than 100, but still more than 50.
I mean, he's always in some other country hanging out with his girlfriend.
Might be at the zoo. Who knows?
He might be at the Omaha Zoo right up the road. That's right. So check out the Savannah Bananas in Kansas City. It should be fun for all. Third option, Headley writes in, Disney on Ice.
Kids would probably rather go to that, yes.
Kids, children, straw poll, call into the show on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline right now.
Kids don't make phone calls.
Kids, call into the show. I know you know how. Just take your mom's phone and go to the little phone icon. Here, I'll show you where it is. Go to the little phone icon in the corner. Well, I shouldn't show you that.
No.
Go to the little phone icon in the corner. It's right down here, or maybe wherever you've placed it, and go to keypad. Keypad. It should look like this.
What's a keypad?
It should look like this.
Okay.
And then you do 402-951-1620. And then you hit the green button.
Feels like too many buttons.
That'll make you call and tell us, which would you rather go to? The Nebraska football home opener or opener in Kansas City on August whatever, the Savannah Bananas in 2 weeks, or Disney on Ice?
Local mayoral candidate asked children to call him today.
Well, local mayoral candidate wants feedback.
Yeah.
That's all.
No
Headley,
other politician is talking to you, the children of Omaha.
Headley writes in, who's the missed call from?
Yeah.
People are wondering.
Good eye.
Well, it was, remember that happened in the crossover.
Oh yeah, it was a spam call.
It actually turned out to be my lawn service. Telling me when my next service was coming.
Okay.
It's today.
Today?
Yes.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't, for the record, let me get out in front of this. I cut my own grass. Okay. I cut my own grass. I trim my own whatever.
I could hear in your voice the trepidation of, oh my gosh, I have to finish this sentence because the next sentence has to be me telling everyone that I cut my own grass.
Thank you. And they shut up, Mike. They come through and they fertilize and they aerate in the spring and in the fall, and there's some upkeep that goes along with it. I do the lawn mowing. They do the science. I leave it in their hands.
Handshake meme. Everyone telling you also to watch out for the mower bag.
Yeah.
Which
It's
obviously.
important. I could not sustain another injury at this point. There cannot be another Creighton broadcaster who sustains an injury.
A second Creighton injury has hit the Jays booth.
Yeah, RDJ fan. Hopefully it's not Bishop's Lawn Service. Nope. Mm-mm. John's not going to be out mowing the lawn for a little while. Another thing here, I saw this come through. This is from Chicagoland area fast food chain Portillo's. We are back to Pope, Josh. In the name of gravy, the bun, and hot jarred, we introduce the Leo. Divinely seasoned Italian beef baptized in gravy. Order now at order.portillos.com. What this is just a regular old Italian beef sandwich that Portillo's has already made for several decades now, just renamed the Leo for internet clout. And guess what? It's working. People are talking about it.
Normally I would be against this.
Good job by them.
However,
I do love Portillo's number one.
yeah,
I can't lie about that.
I love Portillo's.
As much crap as I give young Matt about Chicago, I do love Portillo's. Can't lie.
Can we go to Chicago for lunch?
No, you can't go to well.
You got to start. You got to start early. You got to start before the sun comes.
I mean, you
up.
could take a day trip to Chicago. You could take a day. It'd be on a plane. We don't really think about it that way, but there's you could make it work if everything works out for you. You're just depending on more things. Yeah, like you could theoretically, with the fastest you can get to Chicago, like if you timed it all out right and you didn't run into any snafus. Let's say your flight out was at 9:00 in the morning. You could potentially leave your house at like 7:30 and then be at, depending on how close you live to the airport, and then be at Portillo's at like by 11. That's probably the soonest you could make it happen.
Not terrible.
Not horrible.
Expensive for lunch, but
maybe 10:30. Maybe 10:30. And then you spend a day in Chicago like Ferris Bueller, and then you hit the late flight back home and
make a memory.
Yeah, it's a good day. Make sure you visit the Bean.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the Bean, Josh. Don't forget about the Bean. All right. One more thing before we get out of here.
Okay.
Television news, Josh. In this case,
TV.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's a little bit more of. By the way, I want to get to a couple texts first. From the 720, Goo Goo Gaga, I'm a baby. I want to go to Disney on Ice. So apparently one of the babies got a hold of their dad's phones and sent in Goo Goo Gaga, I'm a baby. I want to go to Disney on Ice. That's the vote. Thank you for sending that in. So I appreciate that. All right. So television. This is from the news yesterday. Andrew Marchand, who now works for The Athletic, is reporting a variety of television news. I can't wait until we got a TV network for a college football game yesterday.
No way.
Texas A&M in Texas. Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, things are happening. So we're moving. Next week we're going to be into it a little bit more, I think. But this is regarding the NFL. YouTube. This is where all the kids are, I'm told, Josh. YouTube. 1620 The Zone's on YouTube.
Yeah.
We'll meet you right there. YouTube has emerged as a heavy favorite to stream its first exclusive NFL game on the first Friday of the opening week. This is the NFL Brazil game, which will be between the Chargers and somebody in Sao Paulo.
Well, who does Joey think it'll be against?
I haven't checked up on Joey's Twitter lately to see what he thinks who it'll be against, but the Chargers against somebody in Brazil. And according to Andrew Marchand, it appears as if this game is going to end up on not YouTube TV, although YouTube TV subscribers will be able to get this game under your package, but as will everyone else in the world. All you have to do is type in YouTube or go to the YouTube app and it will be there. This is the same place all of the streamers live. That one guy who sings all the Colts pregame songs.
Oh.
The Charlie bit my finger. They all live there. And so now does a live NFL regular season game.
Joey says it's going to be Chiefs Chargers, and he had it on Peacock, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, you can't really predict. I would not.
He could not have predicted a new
network come into this thing,
sure.
Right? So I'll give him, if it ends up being the Chiefs, I'll give him a bunch of credit for that. Obviously, so he would deserve it. This would be the first exclusive game streamed on YouTube. And of course, YouTube TV is currently in a gigantic contract with the NFL for Sunday Ticket, which went into effect last year, I believe.
That's right.
Sunday Ticket is an extra subscription product that YouTube TV subscribers of course can get. And so now the NFL, I don't know what else they could do, to be honest with you. I don't know where else they could go to be able to get, have they completed everything? The NFL's had a game on all the major linear networks, all the cable networks that would be worth doing it on, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and now coming apparently this week, this season, YouTube. Is there going to be an NFL game stream live on Twitch? Why wouldn't there? You know what? There should be an NFL game stream live on 1620thezone.com.
Hello. Now you're talking. Let Kevin Kugler do the broadcast, cowards.
Exactly. They could be, they could be everywhere. Exclusively on YouTube. I found this amazing.
I could not think of a network that
the NFL wants world domination. They want to be everywhere, and they are meeting the children and the YouTubers and when they do this NFL game in Brazil and it's broadcast on YouTube. Are they going to kind of Nickelodeon it, where they just get a whole bunch of YouTube streamers, like the kids who open up their gifts on Christmas? Are they going to get them to show up and do a bit for the game?
Hey, Mr. Beast is here.
Yeah.
At the end of the first quarter, I'd like to welcome Mr. Beast into the booth.
You think there'll be a whole bunch of viral marketing that comes along with this? We're on YouTube.
Yes. I mean,
not that the NFL needs it,
right?
But
do you embrace that you're on YouTube, or is it just like a, hey, we're trying to get this to the people of Brazil, and it's on YouTube, and
I think that's what I think that's
better
what
than
they'll
channel
say.
It's better than Channel 4 in Brazil or whatever.
Right. I think that's probably what they'll say. Hey, it's an easier way to get it to the actual people in Brazil who aren't at the game and want to watch the game. But it's also another opportunity for the NFL to put their product somewhere where they can, where there are already people. And that network, YouTube, Google, YouTube TV, they will overpay because they're not traditionally a sports television broadcasting network, and they have real money. And they're like, sure.
And then
you mean I'm going to get a bunch of subscribers for this automatically? Yeah, I'm in.
And then they have to do the thing where they got to get a crew, right? Because this would be independent of
the first Google crew,
the other networks.
I guess. I'm sure they would just, hire out somebody whose contract allows it.
Sort of like Netflix did, which totally fine. I thought Netflix crews were good.
Yep. One more thing before we take a break here. David.
Hi, David.
Subject line bananas.
Oh, no.
Thank you for the public service announcement. We've actually been trying to see the Savannah Bananas for a couple of years. My boys both play select ball, and this is the craze from 9 to 15. Excuse any typos. This is a talk to text. Don't worry. I'm used to it. I read John Bishop.
I speak John Bishop.
I speak John Bishop these days. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
This is definitely the craze. And you're welcome. Hopefully you can get tickets for the game in a couple weeks. This is what the kids want.
If the choices are take my kid to a Savannah Bananas game or don't take him to a baseball game, I guess I'm going to take him to a Savannah Bananas game. I'm going to ask him what's happening the whole time. And he'll tell me, and that would actually be fun and adorable, but
maybe we should just give in. This is baseball now.
No, I don't. I'm
baseball
not ready to do
is
that.
banana.
I watched baseball last night, and it was bananas.
Let's take a break. We got the Pulse. We'll tell you what to watch. Coming up on 1620 The Zone. I love the discourse around here.
It's good. It's always focused on the most important things.
I like when Josh is triggered.
You like when I comment on media.
I do. I think it's a lot of fun.
I ain't scared.
I think it's a lot of fun. All right, we go to the polls from today. Josh, is there ever a good time to slow play Dodge Street? Dodge.
You were right.
There is. There are better times than others. Never a great time, though. So I guess I'll go no. 79% say no. Do you tune out on Fridays? You can be honest.
I know I do.
75% say yes. And finally, do you miss turnstile butts?
I really do.
I miss the turnstiles, man. Going through
that sound.
Taking the subway in New York, you go through real turnstiles and then you watch people jump over the turnstiles.
Yeah, jump over it like a real New Yorker.
I just wasn't gonna do that, I wasn't gonna be the guy who went to New York and jumped over the turnstiles and then ran right in front of the person who was in charge of this and then get a big ticket and everybody laughs at the out of towner who tried to jump the turnstile. So I was gonna pay for it and I did. And then I went to Cat's Deli, and I had an excellent day.
And then you didn't go to Panda Express.
And I didn't go to Panda Express. Don't put it on the internet that I went to Panda Express. But I love the turnstile. I love the feeling of going through the turnstile. You've accomplished something. 50-50 very early results on do you miss turnstile butts. It's probably very confusing to most people. But those are the polls. Josh, what are we watching tonight?
NBA playoffs tonight. Cavs, Pacers, 6:30 on ESPN. Pacers up 2-0, and they're at home tonight. Thunder, Nuggets, 9 o'clock. That's actually my wife's favorite combination
Thunder
of teams
Nuggets
in sports.
Yeah.
When Oklahoma City Thunder play at the Denver Nuggets, Thunder Nuggets. I'll have to tell her that. 9 o'clock tonight on
really
ESPN.
good.
Series tied 1-1. Those teams play again on Sunday. Tomorrow, doubleheader on ABC, 2:30 and 7:30. Celtics, Knicks, Wolves, Warriors as the playoffs continue. NHL tonight, TNT doubleheader, Maple Leafs, Panthers, 6 o'clock. Maple Leafs lead that series 2-0. Stars and Jets up north, 8:30 tonight. Dallas leads that series 1-0. Those teams play again on Sunday, and 2 more games tomorrow. Caps, Hurricanes, 5 o'clock on TNT. That series tied at 1. And then the Oilers are at home with a 2-0 lead over the Vegas Golden Knights, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Baseball this weekend, Cardinals, Nationals tonight on Apple, and then Giants, Twins also on Apple tonight.
Wow.
Cubs, Mets, 6 o'clock tomorrow night on Big Fox, and 11 a.m. Sunday on Roku, as Roku gets another year of that weirdo baseball package.
Yeah, because the Apple dropped it, or
I don't remember how this came about. I believe it is more widely available. I believe it's not a Roku exclusive anymore. You can get it on MLB TV because they wanted people to watch it. And then Sunday Night Baseball is Phillies Guards. College baseball, Xavier Creighton. 6 o'clock tonight.
Honky honk.
6 o'clock tomorrow night. Noon on Sunday. All 3 games featuring Connor Happer on 1180. That's how you should listen to it. But if you're one of those weirdos who needs pictures to go along with your audio, you can watch it Sunday on Nebraska Public Media. Tonight,
John will be there tomorrow and Sunday.
Okay. He will not be a TV boy this weekend, right?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I do not believe so.
Nebraska Public Media tonight as Nebraska hosts Michigan at 6 o'clock. Softball.
Big one.
Yeah, definitely. Big series for the Skurs. Number 19, Nebraska softball takes on number 9, UCLA at 4 o'clock today on BTN. Championship game tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Big East Championship tomorrow at 4 o'clock on FS1. Jays need to win today to advance. There is a path should they lose.
Yes,
but
it gets harder.
It does get harder. You'll want to win today. Just do that. PVF semifinals. The Supernovas take on the Ignite tonight at 7 on CBS Sports Network.
Here we go.
Finals Sunday at 3 o'clock on CBS
Vegas.
Sports Network. Yes, they're in Vegas for this Final Four.
I love Vegas.
You do.
But I've heard that Vegas is flooding.
Flooding?
Vegas cannot
They don't get
sustain any amount of rain for any period of time. So whenever it rains, it's like a life-altering event. And it's been raining for a couple days.
Okay.
And so I've seen a lot of pictures and videos from areas in Vegas that are not handling the rain very well.
No. Yeah. And a movie to watch this weekend, Connor, because you have so much free time on Netflix. Nonas. Let me get your thoughts on this. After the loss of his mother, a man, Vince Vaughn, risks everything to honor her by opening an Italian restaurant with a group of local grandmothers as the chefs.
I have mild interest.
It doesn't sound like the worst movie ever made.
It sounds like a funny place to put Vince Vaughn.
Yes.
But is Vince Vaughn funny anymore?
Great question. I have a lot of questions about that.
Yeah. I'm not so sure.
Know.
All right, Josh, thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
That is it for us today. That's the show. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Be happy to see some smiling faces at the ballpark this weekend. And if you can't listen along with us, I'm very, very excited for these games. Let's do a crossover. How about that? Coming up next.